Good morning, everybody. If I could get everybody's attention. We're going to call this meeting to order. If we can get some silence. Good morning. There we go. We're going to begin. I want to introduce the mayor of Belglade, Mayor Steve Wilson, who will introduce Pastor Dr. Reese for our invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning to everyone.
Morning.
If you don't mind, if you'll please stand as we invoke the word of prayer by Dr. Robert Reese, also the city manager, but he is the pastor of this community. A word of prayer, which at this time that our world really needs prayer at this time. Dr. Reese.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we are truly thankful to you for this beautiful day that you have made. As we look out at the bright sunshine, we truly rejoice and are glad in it. We thank you for the multitude of blessings that you brought upon our community as well as Palm Beach County in the state of Florida. We pray, Father, that as we come together this evening, that we be on one accord, operating according to your will, doing that which you desire. We pray a blessing upon each person that's here today. You know each and every one of their needs. And we trust you, Lord, that you will provide. You said to trust in you in all our ways and lean not into our own understanding. And so, Lord, we come together this morning, trusting you, seeking your guidance, that we may create a world that is healthy and that better for all of our citizens, working according to your will. So we ask all these things in your precious name, and all those who love the Lord said,
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. If you remain standing, and Mayor Steve Wilson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag's behind you.
Behind us. There we go.
Outside.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So I want to welcome, good morning, everybody. We've got quite the crowd here, and I see Commissioner McKinley back there, and President Parker from Palm Beach, and Commissioner Bernard, right in front of her. Okay, so welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I want to welcome everyone to the Belle of the Glades, where the soil is their fortune. Formerly called Hillsborough in the early 1900s. And now called Belglade, incorporated in 1928. And if you remember back in 1928, they incorporated in April of 1928. In September of 28, they got hit by a Category 5 hurricane. And it killed 2,500 people. The lake overflowed. In 1 hour, the water had risen 8 feet in the area. So 2,500 people died, but they persevered. And their citizens are resilient, they're hardworking, and they have a love for the land. And we're just excited to be here and to be out here. I just coming out here today was just, I don't know, it was enlightening. It was just refreshing to be able to look so far and see so far across the land, miles. And so we're so blessed to have Belglade in Palm Beach County and part of the state of Florida, and to be here today. So with that, and thank you, President Parker, for use of the center here. We are in a Palm Beach State College facility here, and it is beautiful. So let's see. Masks are optional, but they are encouraged today. And those who wish to speak to the local bill being presented here today will need to fill out a blue comment, public comment request card, and turn it in to, I guess, Vicky, or to make sure we get it up here. Or you can turn it into Daniela over there. Daniela is a delegation aide, so she's in the green mask, just waving her hands. And here comes more. We're going to be limiting public comment to 2 minutes. And, yeah, we got to change to 2 minutes. And today's hearing is being live streamed on Palm Beach Legislative Delegation Facebook page. Replays of today's meeting will be shown on PBC TV, available on Comcast Channel 20, AT&T Channel 99, and streamed 24/7 on the county's website, pbcgov.com. Members, you received via email the JLAC report on the audit of the Belglade Housing Authority as requested by the delegation previously. Mr. Stephen Weeks and Mr. Greg Heisen from the Housing Authority Chairman are here today. They're over there. Gentlemen, if you raise your hands. And they're here today if you have any follow-up questions with them. Executive Director, would you call the roll, please?
Senator Berman. Here. Senator Harrell. Here. Senator Polsky.
Here.
Senator Powell. Representative Caruso.
Here.
Representative Casello.
Here.
Representative Hardy. Representative Roth.
Here.
Representative Silvers. Representative Skidmore.
Here.
Representative Schlossberg. Representative Snyder. Representative Wilhite. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, first up, Carrie Hallwood, our public defender. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for giving me a few minutes this morning. It's so nice to see all of you, and I first just really want to thank you for your service, and I think these days sometimes being elected officials is not the most popular position, but I do appreciate the service you provide to all of us by representing Palm Beach County. Public defenders provide a very important public service as well. Day in and day out, we are fighting for equal justice by representing people who can't otherwise afford counsel when their liberty is at stake. During the pandemic, we were taxed at the max. We worked every day. Our office was open every day. We were at the jail. We were at initial appearances. We were trying to fight for our clients whose liberty was at stake. That didn't stop during the pandemic. But we are in crisis. I come and address you all every year with sort of our priorities. And I never talk about money. I talk about substantive issues. I'm here today to talk about money. Our lawyers can't afford to live and work in Palm Beach County anymore. Public defenders and state attorneys are paid a fraction of what private lawyers are paid. And yet, truly, we're doing the vital work for our democracy. So I'm really here to ask for your support for proposals to increase salaries for our lawyers. I've always been really proud that our office has been able to attract people from the best law schools in the country who come dedicated to work for our public. They still want to come, but they want to be able to have a roof over their heads. And so we are asking for an across-the-board look at the salaries for the people who are truly shouldering equal justice in our community. And then I also just want to ask for your support on any initiatives to expand opportunities to divert people out of the criminal justice system. We do a lot of good work, but in many ways, we're not solving the social ills that are bringing people into the system. And the way to solve those social ills is to get people out of the system and into the services they need, mental health services, educational services, those kinds of things that our penal system is not equipped to provide. And then finally, I just, sentencing is always an issue with regards to the public's confidence in the fairness of our system and ensuring that the laws are applied equally irrespective of the color of your skin or the size of your wallet. Our sentencing structure has become more and more inequitable over the years. I have been fortunate to be the public defender for Palm Beach County for 20 years. But sadly, I have seen inequities increase in our justice system. And I don't think it's anybody's ill will or intentional efforts, but because of how the sentencing structure is set up in the state of Florida, inequities today are worse than they were 20 years ago. And the only way to address that is to take a serious look at our sentencing structure, our mandatory minimums, our sentencing guidelines, our penalties that continually get enhanced without any really view of whether that is increasing public safety. And my concern is it is decreasing public confidence in the quality of our justice system in Florida. So as proposals are brought forward, please, please keep in mind what is the impact on equality in our state in the criminal justice system as various proposals are being considered. And I ask you to support any efforts that will improve the fairness and equality in our criminal justice system. So thank you again for giving me a few minutes. I wish you all well in the upcoming legislative session, and I appreciate the work you do for our county. Thank you.
Thank you, and we appreciate your work, too. Thank you for your service. Next, we'll hear from President Parker from Palm Beach County State College. Palm Beach State College. I get it right? Wearing the school colors.
Absolutely. So good morning. It is such a pleasure to welcome you all to the Belgrade campus of Palm Beach State College. And you're right, we're the Panthers, and this is how we do it. And I just want to say thank you so much for the great work that you're doing for our state, and we're so happy that we have the opportunity to host you here at one of our 5 locations today. And so pleased and happy to welcome everyone else here that's in the audience. Certainly this is your public community college, and so happy that you would be here with us today. Do I do the slides? I can do the slides here? Huh? I'm doing it. Oh, okay. Again, this is me welcoming you. I tell everyone that we're the heart of Palm Beach County because, again, we have 5 locations, and anytime you leave your community, you'll have an opportunity to meet someone who was trained and or attended and or earned a certificate or their degree from Palm Beach State. And so that's why I'm so happy to call ourselves the heartbeat of the county, as well as we are the economic engine for the county. To give you an idea about our local impact, we're the largest employer of higher education in the county, for $1.1 billion annual economic impact in the county. We're the primary provider of public safety, primary provider of healthcare workers, and for every high school graduate, 50% of them choose to attend Palm Beach State. I thought you might be interested in what's going on with COVID, because I feel that as legislators, you'll get lots of questions about dollars that came from the federal government to local colleges and universities. So I want you to know that we received $131 million in higher education emergency relief funds. And on its face, that seems like a whole lot of money, which would do a whole lot of different things. But I want you to know that we were limited in how we could spend that money. So half of the dollars had to go to students directly. And so that is that we had to, I feel like the government used us as a way to infuse cash into students and their families. So I want you to know that about half of that, or at least half of that, had to go to them first before we could start to spend some of the resources that we received. With the resources that we received, we were limited on what we can do. It had to be things related to recovering from the pandemic. And so that's why you see that we updated technology in classroom spaces. We improved air filtration on all 5 campuses. We purchased laptops because so many of our students did not have devices and could not continue their classes because they didn't have the resources to have the laptops. So we purchased laptops to lend to students and have continued to do that. And also provided Wi-Fi hotspots because, believe it or not, some of our students lived in communities and did not have access to Wi-Fi. So we actually bought Wi-Fi hotspots so we could check them out to our students. And then we also provided about $1,000 per student. We have helped 38,052 students already with these resources. And we also provided that for students who are with us in dual enrollment. So we were limited on how we used it, but feel really good about the things that we were able to do. We also made some changes that I want you to be aware of so that we were able to meet the needs of students based upon their demand. So it used to be that we would just have face-to-face classes, and then we would also have online classes. But we expanded that since the pandemic, in that we do have in-person face-to-face, we do have regular online, but now we also offer Zoom and Teams courses so that students can stay home but attend courses at the exact same time they would have attended classes. And we also have hybrid classes as well. So we really are finding different ways to meet students' needs based upon demand while also keeping them safe. And I'd also say to you, for our dual enrollment students, if you have some in your community and you're concerned about their ability to have transportation, please know that they are able to, even as dual enrollment students, participate in the Zoom and Teams courses. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our legislative priority. And this is something that we've talked to you about before, and then we've kind of talked about it before, and then we've kind of let it sit on the sideline at different times based upon what's going on. But this year, I need you to know that it is our number one priority. And we've been in our current dental and medical sciences building since 1962. The building is the same age as I am, and so, you know, if I'm old, that building is really old at this point. We've been on the list to have it replaced since 2008. So for a long time, we've been trying to ensure that our students had the best possible dental training that they could receive as dental hygienists and dental assistants. And now, finally, I'm so happy to say that we're ranked number 1 on the PICO funding list, which is a really, really big deal for us. It will house our dental hygiene, dental assisting, surge tech, physical therapy assisting programs, as well, and it'll be on our Loxahatchee Groves campus, so we'll be our second building there. We also will have simulation services available so that we'll have a multi-purpose robotic medical simulation which improves nursing and dental students' opportunities. So we're also going to improve our nursing program with this building. We house Atlantic Coast Dental Research Clinic, which provides continuing education for dental professionals and most importantly serves those in the community who can't afford dental care. So what's great is that we currently provide that service at Lake Worth. With this new building, we'll be transferring that service west, so our citizens in our western communities will have access to dental services for those who cannot afford them. And we're going to provide opportunities for pre-licensure students to practice nursing skills. So know that this building is going to really change the lives of many once we have an opportunity to actually build it, noting that we have had some previous allocations that we just want to add to it. So I wanted you to see a picture of the Lake Worth campus, the aerial photo in 1964. The yellow circle, that's the building that we are still operating in, the one that I talked about that was built in 1962. So know that it's time for us to update the building and really have a new building because it can no longer be renovated and provide needed services within our community. This is an idea of, or at least an aerial photo of what this will look like when it's actually located on the Loxahatchee Groves campus. You see it says Phase 2 Dental Building. That's the one that's just to the top right of the photo. I know that you had to pass by our Loxahatchee Groves campus to get here, and so I hope that you saw that, that beautiful campus as it stands now with one building, but we need a second building to expand. Our request at this point is $25 million. And what I'd say to you is that we're number 1 primarily because we're bringing money to the table. That's very unusual for colleges to bring about $15 million, but we've raised that much money. And we think that that shows that we definitely have skin in the game, and we're asking you all to help us to get the $25 million to complete the project. And all I'd say to you is that I understand that there are lots of requests. I mean, everyone knows that we have more money than usual. We think this is in a unique position because it is actually meeting some of the demands that we have in our state because everyone knows that nursing is such a big deal. Also unique in that we're bringing the money to the table. Unique in that our students and our community, we deserve to have up-to-date dental training so they can be ready to go right into the offices. Also unique because we're going to get to serve another part of our community with the with our dental clinic. So with that, I say thank you so much. I'm certainly here to answer any questions. Right now, I'm looking to try to get on your calendars. My office is working with your office so that we can have an opportunity to have a more intimate conversation about this. But please know this is much needed. And after 2008, we've been patient. But we're asking if you will work with us to get this done because we think that it will make a big difference to our community. And not just the one district that it's in. I thank certainly the senators who represent this community and the members who represent the community. But no, this is something that will help the entire county. So every day we inspire hope, we advance skills, and we transform lives. That's our commitment to you as the leaders and our commitment to our community. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here and allow me an opportunity to say good morning and welcome you to the Belle Glade campus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Parker. And we know that the Palm Beach State College is, in my opinion, the best state college in the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
And I know that you've been waiting a long, long time for that PICO funding for the dental building. I've been to the dental building. The flag, and I walked into a classroom. It had a pencil sharpener, one of these things by the door. It had a green slate chalkboard, and the flag was an original 1958 flag with 48 stars, and it hadn't, and you touched it and it almost falls apart. It's that old in the corner, and I'm not kidding. So we're going to open it up for comments. Representative Wilhite.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You may remember 1964 when it was built, but I don't. But
Some of us do. Thank you.
President Parker, thank you. You don't need to waste your time having a meeting with me and supporting this. You know that I've been a strong supporter of it from the very beginning. Obviously, I'm happy to meet with you about anything with Palm Beach State College, but this has been very much needed in this area of the central Palm Beach County, not just for the need for medical professionals, but the need for dental services in the area that you offer to the community. So thank you very much, and know that I think this delegation recognizes how important it is and how much you do for the community. So thank you very much for what you're doing, continue to do, and hopefully we can get this project going even quicker and get it done very soon. So thank you, Dr. Parker. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Representative Roth.
So, Ms. Parker, thank you so much for hosting us here today. I, too, am very much interested. I think workforce education, where we have people that want to be nurses, people that want to be dental technicians, that can continue their current jobs, continue to live in Palm Beach County, don't have to go away to a four-year university, can get that training here and move forward. That is a big help. So my question to you is, can you give us any update? It may be a little premature, but I know we passed legislation last year in our education bill having to do with dual enrollment. That is a real sore spot. That's one of the things you and I talked about 3 or 4 years ago, how we're pushing dual enrollment all the time, but the colleges don't get any reimbursement. Or is that something that now is being set up, and are you getting those dollars now?
So yes, thank you very much. But due to the leadership of you all in the House and the Senate, we are now receiving some additional dollars in some areas of dual enrollment where we previously did not receive them. What's good about that is that it's opening up more opportunities for those who are in private schools and those who are in charter schools to now participate with us more fully, because we have an opportunity to receive funds to be reimbursed for our services to them. The one thing, the pandemic brought along a lot of negative things. One of the positive things it did bring along to us is the ability and the interest in using more Zoom and Teams opportunities. So as we go to different high schools and talk to them about dual enrollment, we talk to them about the fact that we know transportation has previously been an issue, but here's an opportunity to use technology to ensure that those students who want to participate in dual enrollment, and for some reason we have not reached an agreement on whether we can have that class on campus, they can participate with us via Zoom or Teams. And so we found that to be a positive thing to help us to increase dual enrollment opportunities. The one thing I'd say to you is that studies have shown that when students engage in dual enrollment, they're more likely to also go on to some type of higher credential once they reach, once they get out of high school. And so that's why it's so important to us as Floridians, and particularly as residents of Palm Beach County, is that when you get some type of certificate or credential past high school, it increases your wage earning opportunities. And if we can get them started in dual enrollment, they will continue to at least earn an additional credential. So know that I appreciate your support for that. We are looking to continue to work with the school district to see ways that we can strengthen opportunities to get more students participating in dual enrollment so they'll get that post-high school credential.
Senator Harrell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your presentation, and I certainly totally am in support of the PICO dollars. But my question is, I've had many conversations with you on the nursing program and expanding nursing, the entire nursing program, whether it is for RNs or certified nurse assistants or LPNs, whatever. There is such a need in our community for more nurses. Can you kind of address that a little bit and how perhaps these PICO dollars would be beneficial in that endeavor?
Thank you so much for asking that question, because you are right. We are in a nursing crisis, and I'm so proud to report that we actually have a nursing program here at this campus. It is something that is always full. And they have great opportunities to work with the hospitals here in the Western community as well. What's great about this building is that it will have simulation services in there, and that is something that helps us with our nursing program. So it won't just be, we call it a dental building, and dental building particularly because it was originally designed to replace our dental hygiene and dental services programs. But we've also added a simulation component that will help us with increasing the number of nursing students that we're able to serve, as well as the speed in which we can get them out. One of the issues that we have is with clinicals, and with the simulation services being increased because of this building, we'll be able to serve more nursing students quicker with this particular allocation in this particular building, which is great because there's so much more growth in this community. So that is something that we will note, is that we think that we are serving or addressing a real need for our state by endorsing and or supporting the dental and medical services building right here in Palm Beach County. To deal with your other issue about, man, it's just a demand generally, I was in a leadership team meeting this week, and we are committed to at least increase our nursing output. I want to say we're at 50%, but that may be pushing it, but I will say I know we'll increase by 30%. And that's just by really seeing if we can almost use every hour of the day to kind of offer different additional sections, but also just based upon some of the conversations that we're having with the directors of nursing here at the hospitals, and thinking through creative ways that we can address nursing faculty. The issue is that the state requires that we have only 10 students per nursing faculty member. Nurses are being paid such top dollars, it's very difficult to convince them to leave the hospital and come be a faculty member. And so we're talking about things like, can it be that the nurses actually stay on staff and the hospitals lend them to us to come and teach courses while they're actually still being paid that wage? So we're looking and thinking through creative ways to convince nursing staff. One thing that the Council of Presidents is considering on behalf of the college system is to see if the legislature would consider setting aside a pot of money for nursing faculty in particular for the Florida college system. And the reason we're suggesting this is that we're also excited about the fact that University of Florida is now in top 5. It got in top 5 because you as legislators made a decision to invest in faculty for them. They got more faculty, it got them into the top 10 and all the way to 5. And what I say to you is that we need that same infusion of CAS into the college system in order for us to produce the nurses that our state needs, because there is an issue, again, with the top dollar that nurses are being paid. How do we convince them to come and make a regular faculty member rate when they can make so much more in the hospitals? So if you guys can look out for that legislation where we can actually have a pot of cash that would be available to particularly address nursing faculty, that would be another great thing that could be done that will help the entire college system, but particularly help us as an institution as well.
Thank you, President Parker. Representative Skidmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, President Parker. We share a birth year, apparently. So
okay,
I'm
yes.
excited about that.
I can never tell that about you.
You're very kind. So I actually wrote down, prior to being recognized, nursing faculty. And I think that that is something that is critical. I'm certainly supportive of the appropriation for the building. Even though we look good at 59, a building, maybe not so much, especially when technology has changed so much. And the need for graduating people more quickly is urgent. So in terms of the faculty, not just from a funding perspective, but from an availability perspective, what are the challenges that you're experiencing and how can we help with that?
So I can tell you that I'm sure right now, I didn't check the vacancy report, but I know I have vacancies for nursing faculty. So it probably takes us twice as long to find nursing faculty in general. And it's not because nurses don't have a heart for the work. Again, it's just how do you balance the great opportunities they have working in their profession right now with the bonuses and the top dollar rates that they receive. So I think that, again, and particularly in your other job, this idea of how can we encourage hospitals to do creative things like what we're suggesting, whereas that, will they, pay them for 8 hours or pay them for 8 hours and let them work 2 hours with us, but still pay them at that same rate because they get that, that benefit of actually getting these students over to them faster because we have more faculty. We are looking at expanding. Previously we actually offered our nursing program only at our Belgrade campus and our Lake Worth campus. We're now going to be expanding our nursing offerings to our other locations as well. Now that we're limited and that we don't have all the labs that we need, but we certainly can start the program in these other campuses so that we can reach more students that way. And again, with the faculty, it's conversations that we're having with the CEOs and with the chief nursing officers in the hospitals that, where we're trying to see what creative things can we do, like what I suggested. Unfortunately, that's sort of the only idea I have right now. I know that Senator Harrell had me speak with one of the hospital CEOs who talked about, is it possible for hospital foundations to agree to put so much money into a pot and work together to create more nursing opportunities? Because again, I don't have a shortage of students who are interested. So I have some programs, like I have a fabulous cardiopulmonary program that, where I don't have as many students who are interested. And so I'm trying to let them see that with all the things that happened in the pandemic, respiratory care is a big deal. They're paying a $30,000 signing bonus for people who want to go out and be a cardiopulmonist. And I'd say that, but in nursing, I have demand. I have students who want to do it. It's just a matter of putting the other pieces together because of the limitations that we have of one faculty member for 10 students, as well as the clinical rotations. So I'd be happy to specifically talk to you about that based upon your experience and your creative ideas. We're considering a nursing summit, so we can invite all the DONs together in one room to see what is it that we can come up with that makes sense for our community.
Follow up, Mr. Chair.
Follow up. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that, President Parker. You may know that in the Healthcare Appropriations Committee a couple of weeks ago, we had a panel discussion with the Florida Hospital Association and the Florida Nursing Home Association, and there's no more urgent need that they have at this time than nursing staff. And so there are some opportunities, I think, if we all work together. I know we finally funded now the nursing board in the state, and with the schools, with the Florida Hospital Association, the Florida Nursing Home Association, I think a summit would be ideal. And I certainly would love to participate from a legislative perspective to see what we can do to help encourage that, and look for your leadership on that. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much.
Any other members? Well, thank you, President Parker. We appreciate all your hard work over the many, many years, and what you've done with Palm Beach State College is absolutely amazing. You've changed the face of the map over there and throughout the county. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate your support, and we're here to serve. So if you need anything, and Vicki, if you need anything, you let us know, and we'll make sure that you have, or that your needs are met while you're visiting with us. But even once you leave us, know you can always call me. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Go Panthers.
Right now, I want to recognize Todd Von Laren. He's our Assistant County Administrator. He's somewhere in the house. There he is. Give a wave over there. Always hard at work, Todd Bonlaren. And his little girl's going to be turning 1, and she is a sweetheart. And Mama's sitting right here in front of me. So they're the dynamic duo. And right now, I want to give each member a chance to introduce themselves since we're all here now. And I'm so excited that we have a complete, full delegation. Almost. Who are we missing? Oh, we are missing a couple, 3 of them. Okay, so well, we're close. Anyway, we'll start down at this end with Representative Omari Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Representative Omari Hardy. I represent District 88 in the Florida House. That goes from South County to North County and much of the urban spine of the county in and around the east, around I-95. Very happy to be here out in the Glades today. Looking forward to doing good work with my colleagues. Thank you.
Continue.
Good morning. Welcome to House District 81. I'm Kelly Skidmore, State Representative for this area. I'm happy to be here this morning and happy to have all of these visitors to see just how beautiful the Glades are. In the audience somewhere are my aides, Dr. Gwen Gonzalez, Amy Chamberlain, and Khadidra Willis. So if you have any questions, if there's anything we can do to be helpful, please reach out. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning. I'm Lori Berman from Senate District 31. It is central Palm Beach County. It goes from Delray to Lake Worth, basically from the ocean to the turnpike. I'm here today with my legislative assistants, Danielle DeLagrange and Abby Ross, and happy to be with all of you today.
Good morning, Senator Tina Polsky. Welcome to Senate District 29 that I so proudly share with Representative Skidmore. It's been my honor to represent this area for the last 4 years. And welcome to beautiful Belglade. I'm so happy you all are here. Oh, I'm not done yet. Thank you. Senator Burr wants me to make sure I recognize my staff. Thank you for being here. J.J. Piscadlo, Daphne Fernandez, David Siegel, I think is back in the district office. I represent South and Western Palm Beach County and Northwestern Broward County. So happy to be here. Look forward to hearing from so many of you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Matt Wilhite. I represent the 86th District in the Florida House. I'm fortunate enough to have Tom Valio and Melissa Santoro, who is my staff here, who are the best staff this side of I-95. They do great work for our district, and I appreciate everything they do. We're fortunate enough to represent Loxahatchee Groves, Wellington, Royal Palm Beach, Haverhill Hill, Green Acres, did I say West Palm Beach, and parts of unincorporated Palm Beach County. It's an honor to be here in the Glades, and thank you for hosting us today, Mayor, and I appreciate a very good meeting today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Powell.
Thank you, Mr.
Thrill
Chair.
us.
I am State Senator Bobby Powell, Jr., representing Senate District 30 in Palm Beach County, the northern parts of Palm Beach County. Here with me this morning is part of my dynamic duo, I like to believe the best staff on this side of heaven, Attorney Kirsty Miles.
I like the service. I like the count.
Senator Harrell.
I like the service.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm Senator Gail Harrell. I represent District 25, which in Palm Beach County includes the city of Pahokee, the Jupiter Farms area, and the acreage area. I also represent all of Martin County and all of St. Lucie County. And it is just a beautiful day to be in the Glades, and thank you all for coming out.
Rep Roth.
Thank you, Senator. Yes, I'm Representative Rick Roth. I'm a native of Palm Beach County, so I tell everybody all the time, welcome to paradise. I am a farmer. My father moved here in 1948, but I do not represent this area. It was Representative Polsky before, now it's Representative Skidmore. I have the northeast quadrant, mostly of Palm Beach County, thinking of Southern Boulevard dividing the north to the south, and 20 Mile Bend being dividing east to the west. So I have Arden, I have Westlake, I have Ibis, I have most of the unincorporated Loxahatchee. Y'all probably figured that out already. Also have Palm Beach Gardens, North Palm Beach, Juno Beach, Country Estates, and Jupiter Farms. So I have one of the biggest districts. It's District 85, and I have John Carter here, if he'll stand up and wave, and Sheila Jackson are my two legislative aides. Where are they? They're behind us. Okay. Thank you.
Representative Casello.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Joe Casello, representing District 90, which includes Boynton Beach, Lantana, Lake Worth, the city of Atlantis, Green Acres, goes from 95 out to the Turnpike. And I'm happy to be here. It was a great ride out. President Parker, thank you for that presentation. It's always a pleasure to see you, and you're always informing us of the good stuff that we need to do as legislators. So thank you for that. It's just good to be here, folks. Thank you.
Back to Senator Harrell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I did forget to introduce my two aides I have with me today, and that is Karen Sweeney and Carrie Lira. And I believe they're in the back. But we're here to serve you. Anything you need, please make sure that you see one of us. Thank you.
Back to Representative Casello.
I also did forget my two aides. You know, and why we introduce these people to you is that when you contact our office, that's your first point of contact of these aides. And they really give you the information that you need, or give direction, or help us help you. So, you know, that's why it's so important to know their names and the kind of work they do. But my two aides are here, Brian Bees and Troy Grass, and I thank them both for being here today.
And back to Representative Hardy.
I just want to recognize my aides as well, Tricia Mishler and Kamea Unger, who are both here. They do a lot of fantastic work in my office, as Representative Casello said, with our constituents. They're the first people that our constituents talk to, and I'm forever grateful to them.
Thank you. Anybody else? We got everybody in? Okay, I'm State Rep Mike Caruso, District 89. It includes all of Boca Raton Corporation Incorporated. Runs all up the east coast of Palm Beach County, the intercoastal and the ocean, all the way to Singer Island. And I'm here with my legislative aide, Walter Boykus, who is most likely your first contact with our office. And he does a great job. And you know, during COVID and all the work they did, that's why we probably got 3,000 people there on unemployment. I say we, Walter Boykus did. 3,000 people there on unemployment. We got all their checks. We got people, over 1,000 people, their appointments for COVID vaccines. And it's just one thing after the other, and Walter's ground zero for all of it. So thank you very much. And thanks. I also serve as a chair this year, and I'm honored to do so. Okay, was that a yes? Yeah. Okay, and we have Commissioner McKinley is here, and we're going to recognize her to come speak. I don't know if Commissioner Bernard wants to speak, but Commissioner McKinley, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome to the largest county commission district in Palm Beach County at 1,692 square miles. I do not have any of my aides today, but I did bring about 150 of my constituents out here today to visit with you, and so feeling a little heat here today. Anyhow, I want to thank you. I want to thank Senator Harrell, Senator Polsky, and Representative Skidmore for all they do to represent the Glades in a very fair manner, and for all of the support on so many of the appropriation requests that we seek for the three communities out here, Belglade, South Bay, and Pahokee. I spend most of my time working for Mayor Wilson. But I hope that you'll take the time not only to recognize the wonderful agriculture that we have in this part of Palm Beach County, but also we've done a lot with your partnership, a lot of road improvements, and I'm also most proud of what we have done during COVID to open up the third homeless resource center in the city of Belglade, followed by a transitional housing facility that also provided COVID respite beds during the surge of the pandemic and continues to provide that service with a 43-unit complex in the city of Pahokee. I also want to recognize that you are sitting in one of the produce baskets of America, and we talk a lot about the supply chain issues that we're facing across the country, notably out in California. For those of you that don't know, this is the 5th largest agricultural district in the United States. The other 4 are in California. And while I've spoken to some of my colleagues, and while so much of the focus is what is sitting in cargo ships off the shores of Los Angeles and Long Beach and their ports over there, the other side of that issue is what they can't get loaded onto ships. And a lot of our farmers out in California are seeing their produce, so to speak, die on the vine because they can't get it shipped out. And there's more pressure on areas like Palm Beach County to make sure we can provide that produce and those agricultural products to the rest of the nation during this time. So all of your efforts, particularly you, Representative Roth, to make sure that agriculture continues to thrive in the state of Florida, I say thank you on behalf of my western part of my district. 2 areas I'd just like to point out. There hasn't been a whole lot of talk about the way the redistricting maps have been drawn in the state legislature. I know he's not going to speak, but a round of applause should be given to my colleague, Representative, Commissioner Bernard. He really led the effort. It was his leadership. We passed our final maps yesterday for the county commission, and he made sure that 2 of the districts, one would be a majority black district and one would be a minority Hispanic district, so that our county commission was reflective of the population that we serve. So thank you, Commissioner Bernard, for your leadership on that. One of my concerns, and I've shared it with some of you, while Senator Harrell has done a yeoman's job representing Pahokee, the idea that the entire Glades community would share a Senate district with Martin County, particularly coastal Martin County, I think is a disservice to the entire Glades region. They have been at odds, and they continue to butt heads over prioritizing agriculture and making sure that those communities are fairly represented. Right now, we're able to share in that conversation and really find common ground and compromise and work together with Senator Polsky representing the Senate as well as Senator Harrell. But if you put this entire region in the same Senate district, I don't think it's fair to the entire Glades community. And then the last thing I want to talk about, my service, last year I was able to serve as the president of the Florida Association of Counties. I still sit on the executive board as the immediate past president, and I also sit on the board of directors of the National Association of Counties. And this continued attack on home rule is making it very hard for us to do our job. And just as a reminder, we were elected the same way the members of the legislature were elected. We were elected by the people that are about to speak before you today. So please please remember that your local elected's voice matters as much as yours matters. And if you continue to tie our hands and make it harder for us to do our job, it's a disservice to the constituents that we also serve. So thank you so much for taking the time to drive out here today, and I appreciate all your service. Look forward to seeing you on Palm Beach County Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. Okay, now to the work. We have one local bill here today to hear. Each member and their staff has received documents in advance for their review. This proposed local bill will be presented, discussed, and then will be taken up for a vote today. According to our rules, local bills are passed with a majority vote of House members present and a majority vote of the Senate members present. So Representative Rick Roth, you are recognized to present your bill.
Thank you, Chairman. And like some of the people in the audience, I'm very much looking forward to this next step in this proposed bill. This bill is a referendum bill. If passed in Tallahassee, it will allow the citizens in unincorporated Loxahatchee to go to a referendum, probably November of 2022. I've heard everything across the board from they're going to vote to incorporate today. I've heard that. And I've also heard that if we incorporate, the taxes are going to go up 50%. So there is so much misinformation out there. I am going to read a little bit of prepared remarks. This is from a letter that I did send to the delegation, but I think for the people in the audience, they need to hear some of this. So I'm going to make a couple of prepared comments. This bill is called the Village of Loxahatchee, and it is a referendum bill. And I must remind everybody, if it's passed, it will allow the citizens of unincorporated Loxahatchee living out inside the proposed boundaries to have a referendum and decide if they want to incorporate. Again, this is a referendum bill that could lead to incorporation. It is not an incorporation bill. As the state representative representing unincorporated Loxahatchee, this is the third bill that I've run to go in this direction. I am following a pathway that was set up by the Florida legislature in 2021 when I passed HB 1185 in 2021. I was then advised by the local chair of the committee that to amend the bill so I could pass it. So what it did, it took out the part of going to a referendum from the bill that was passed in 2021. It instead allows Indian Trails Improvement District to expend funds to do a feasibility study, to set up a charter committee, and to submit the study and the charter in a new bill, which is what we're doing today. This new bill was submitted by the citizens of Loxahatchee, not Indian Trails, as provided under Florida statutes. And so we'll be asking the legislature to determine the feasibility of incorporation, and if they agree, then they would pass this bill to allow us to go to referendum in November of 2022. Again, the important point is this has been a long process, and I believe the process is very, very important. I have complimented the chairman of the delegation numerous times. He has done his due diligence. We have had many discussions, many meetings in Tallahassee as just a week or so ago. Last we were in Tallahassee. So he has done his due diligence and should be complimented by everybody in the delegation for doing his job as chair. But I do want to submit that we have had undue outside influence and big money trying to affect this effort. They have been spending lots of dollars to misinform the public, misinform our delegation, and try to stop this opportunity for this citizens to be able to vote, hopefully a year from now, if this bill passes. And they want to stop that before we even get to Tallahassee with our first committee. So that's my goal today, is to continue the effort that I started 3 years ago. I've been in numerous meetings in Loxahatchee and have told people over and over and over again, I am representing everybody in my district, of course. This is not an effort for me to try to get Loxahatchee incorporated. This is an effort for me to provide the citizens the opportunity. So all we're asking today is for the opportunity to present our case in Tallahassee through the committee process. I believe the committee process in Tallahassee will be sufficient to determine if the feasibility study, if the charter, and all the other things necessary to consider the incorporation of unincorporated Loxahatchee is sufficient. This is a difficult process. I will go so far as even to go further to say, as a member of the Republican Party, I am disappointed that there is a slight bias in Tallahassee against incorporation. So I am asking for members of this delegation, let's work together like we've been doing for the last several months. Some very good things have come out of this discussion and tabling of the bill. The chair, thankfully, we were able to table the bill on October 28th. We now have a new bill which has an amendment. The amendment does say that Indian Trails will remain an independent district. I believe that takes care of most of the unfounded concerns that people will be disenfranchised by this incorporation. So you will have two different boundaries. You'll have an Indian Trails boundary, which is what it is today, and you'll have a smaller proposed boundary for the future if that goes to that. So I think we are in a very good place today. I hope and pray that we can work together as the Palm Beach County delegation to do what's good for the local voters in Palm Beach County, give us an opportunity to have a say in Tallahassee and move through the process. It's going to be a difficult process, but hopefully we can work together as a delegation in Tallahassee, and any objections that we're having right now, we can solve those and move forward. I am very much interested in listening to comments from the group out here today. And with that, Chairman, that is the bill.
Thank you, Representative. Members, do you have any questions for Representative Roth?
I think we should hear from people first.
I'm sorry.
I just want to hear, let's hear from them.
You want to hear from the public? Yeah, we'll get there. Oh, member questions after. Okay, sure. Okay, no questions. We move on to public comment. Public comment, we'll first hear from Louis Kalantuani. 2 minutes.
Tony.
It's a difficult name, Louis Colantoni. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank Belle Glade for having us here today. Mr. Caruso was so right. It is refreshing and beautiful to drive out here. And I would also like to thank the local representatives and senators of the area for their patience and hard work in this situation. And I also am going to recognize, and I'm glad to see that you all did, but the wheels on the wagon are all your staff members who have been so amazing in this process in helping us communicate our needs to the representatives here today. And I had a speech prepared, but I'm just going to speak from the heart and keep it simple since there's so many people here that want to speak. And I'm just going to say this. Our area is the next area to the east with the beautiful wide open places and spaces that Mr. Caruso spoke about. We have a unique lifestyle. Every one of our residents is on an agricultural residential zoning, which is unique in the area. And I would also like to say that that area is a rather large area. When I moved there in 1978, it was 1,180 residents. And today we are 44,800. And I think people realize here in Palm Beach County that change is going to happen, and it has happened all around us. And that this change brings forth the need for local representation to be able to represent our citizens and represent our needs, especially since we are surrounded by 6 municipalities that already have the advantages of home rule authority. And I believe, and I am going to ask for your support today to give us the rights that as Americans we have, the right to vote, and move forward with this simple referendum on the right to vote. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next up. Yeah, if we could refrain from applause just so that we can get through this. We've got about 30 speakers, so at 2 minutes each, we're here for a long time. Next up, Christine Peterson. And that's going to be followed by Diane Demers. Yeah, and followed by Linda Walker. So please be prepared to speak. And Daniela, if you could start the mic, the timer, the moment the next one is done. No, this one's done. Go ahead. You'll recognize Ms. Peterson.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Christy Peterson, speaking for myself and 11 family members. Bill 1185 passed and referenced Statute 165.0615. There was an implied intent for the conversion of Indian Trail Special District to municipality. That intent was bypassed. A citizens' initiative, including a charter, feasibility study, and proposed boundary changes, has been submitted instead. As a special district, Indian Trail provides 3 services with a current budget of $14 million. The Village of Loxahatchee expects to be a full-service municipality responsible for providing all activities in a local government and will assume roads and parks and recreation, two of ITID's responsibilities. Comparatively, the study projects revenue for the village at over $17,809,000. It is important to note that ITID has just approved over $1 million increase to cover the shortfall in their current budget beginning October 1. The feasibility study was prepared using the prior year budget, which was the lowest budget of the past 3 years. There should be a concern that the expenditures included in the study are understated and would be indicative of an incomplete or inaccurate projection. In addition, it would suggest a lack of consideration of the current rate of inflation and computations required to include these increases in the study. Due diligence for these types of discrepancies would be expected. The EDR evaluation and conclusion supports evidence of flaws for elements 8, 9, and 11, and outlined each issues on page 4 through 16 of the report. As a result, the evidence is insufficient to support a viable fiscal position if incorporated. As residents, we are opposed to incorporation, opposed to lack of transparency
10 seconds.
and the entire process that resulted in the bill before you. Please vote no. Thank you for your time.
Diana Demarest, please. Followed by Linda Walker.
Sorry, I got to change eyes.
I'm Linda Walker.
Hi, Diana Demarest. Diana Demarest, 18849 West Sycamore Drive in the acreage. I want to thank this delegation for having this meeting, Mr. Chairman, our senators and our representatives. I do appreciate it. I want to walk through how we got here, because I don't like how we got here. And I want everybody up there to know I'm not necessarily completely opposed to incorporation. I'm opposed to the way this thing was done. We start out with HB 1185, which references Florida State Statute 165061, which allows a special independent district to incorporate. Then somehow, I don't know, magic wand, I'm not sure, we flipped to Florida State Statute 165061, which allows a board of 3 citizens to present this to the state. I have to say that the transparency on this was horrendous. Most of the people didn't know they were having in-person meetings in the middle of a pandemic. Those rooms were pretty much empty. On the Zoom meetings, we'd have our hands raised, we'd be ignored. And if anybody talked about, how this, anybody had questions, you were spoken to like you were a child, like you didn't have a right to question this situation. Now, going through all the legislation, we're supposed to have a 40% signature of qualified electors. Didn't happen. We flipped to the other statute. There's a lot of things wrong. And going through the staff analysis, it was shocking. I mean, they were brutal as to the sufficiency of the way this thing was handled. And it's not really in a transparent way. And I think that, we need to vote no on this, send it back to the drawing board, do it the right way, involve the public at large. That did not happen. I appreciate your no vote today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Demarest. Ms. Linda Walker, 2 minutes.
Sorry, Linda. Can't get my eyes back on.
This will be followed by Joe Rogers.
Good morning. I'm Linda Walker, and I'm against incorporation. I have been a resident of the acreage just 1 month shy of 36 years. I am here this morning because ITID received a change to their charter to allow them to study the feasibility of a conversion under State Statute 165.0615, which requires a petition of at least 40% of the qualified electors. This did not happen. This took away our right to vote, which is what's being touted for those for incorporation now. And we are now here with a bill that's seeking incorporation under State Statute 165.041. The EDR highlighted multiple areas of concerns on the new feasibility study that was presented on 11/11/21. Might I add, there was a big push during the feasibility meetings of the district that the study needed to be completed and turned in the beginning of September per state law. But perhaps that's merely a suggestion. This is fine if rules are just merely guidelines or suggestions. However, I'm a citizen who believes rules should be followed and not broken. ITID does not have enough commercial base to support a municipality. The new municipality wants it to ITID to turn its building and properties and assets over to them. Where will the independent district be housed and worked out of? I hope that each of you realize the feasibility study is not feasible, and the claim that many of the property taxes will decrease is a falsehood. Citizens deserve honest. No, citizens demand honest government, and I will say this entire process has been flawed and misleading. It is up to the delegation today to decide if rules and laws matter or if they are just merely recommendations and suggestions.
Thank you. Please, no applause. Please, Joe Rogers. Joe Rogers. Joe Rogers not being here, we'll move on to William Jones. Let's see. Joe Rogers, I can't tell if he's for or against, but he did not wish to speak. Let's see. William Jones does not wish to speak, but does not indicate if they're for or against. Do not want incorporation. Thank you, Vice Chair. Robert Capoletta wishes to speak. You're recognized, sir. You can begin the clock.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Robert Copoletta. My family and I have been residents of the acreage for over 34 years. As you may imagine, it is today a dramatically different place than it was when we bought our lot and built our home in 1987. It is a vibrant and diverse community with somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 residents and has outgrown our current form of government. This meeting is not really about incorporation. It is about the opportunity to vote on incorporation, our rights as citizens to self-determination. Self-determination, I believe, is the core to freedom, without which we cannot be truly free. So the question today is really quite simple. Does a community of citizens have a right to self-determination? Obviously, there are outside influences, political pressures with different objectives, good or bad. But outside entities should not override citizens' basic rights. So I urge this body to do the right thing, the just thing. Give us the opportunity to choose for ourselves. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Lisa Johnson wishes to speak. Going to be followed by John Bolin, who does not wish to speak. Let's see. Followed by Betty Argue.
Hi, my name is Lisa Johnson. I'm a homeowner and resident of Loxahatchee since 2003. Although never being involved in politics, when Indian Trails was forming a Citizens Committee of Residents for the feasibility study and charter, I asked the longtime residents if they would get involved. The answer was blatant. Incorporation is a big no for me. I'd rather spend my time getting others to vote no. This really bothered me. No one will persuade me one way or another on anything, but I would have to learn. I went to each feasibility and charter review meetings or Zoomed. I participated and learned many pros and cons, home rule authority being unequivocally essential. As this board knows, your approved developments of our area, inside our area, inside our area has been a real challenge in many aspects. I want to personally thank the President of Indian Trails Improvement District for leading your hard work, dedication, and time to do what's needed to protect our community, incorporation. It takes a strong leader to protect and preserve, and we are fortunate to have you. I watched firsthand of the community knowledge and willingness to share it. One on a mosquito-filled night, for a couple hours, you spoke to a resident who was against incorporation. We were all impressed and learned so much. The no became a maybe, and the willingness to learn and listen and make his own decision. Hopefully, he will have the right to vote. To all the outsiders here oppose our incorporation, I do not know what your agenda is, but I'm afraid it will not protect or preserve us. To all the residents opposed, I know you don't want change, but change is all around us. Should we become the village of Loxahatchee, we can all come together, put our strength, time, dedication, and passion to protect and preserve our life in Loxahatchee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Okay, we've got John Bolin, does not wish to speak. No to Loxahatchee Incorporation. Barbara Staffern, in favor of incorporation, does not wish to speak. Ashley McDavis, in support of becoming a municipality. And Betty Argue, you are recognized.
Thank you, sir. I'm Betty Argue. I'm the president of Indian Trail Improvement District. We signed, I first wanted to share with you, we have a resolution in support of the proposal that's before you. Indian Trail did, in fact, follow our legislated amended charter that authorized us to spend money on a feasibility study and to have a feasibility and charter review committee which drafted the charter. Community members, 16 people from different areas in our community participated in that. We had over 20 meetings. A couple of Saturday meetings where we spent 6 hours there hashing over names and other issues with respect to the charter. At that time, the proposal was to make Indian Trail a dependent district. However, during the process, which I thank all of you for, we realized there were some things that were identified that were not going to be supported moving forward. Therefore, we, in response to the legislative delegation, concerns that were raised by the community, we said the way to solve this is to keep Indian Trail Improvement District an independent district for the purposes of drainage only. The same assets that were relied on as a dependent district are being turned over to the municipality, and the board supports that. All we're asking for you today is to pass this bill to give us an opportunity for our community to become informed and to vote on incorporation. The people that are opposed, they don't even want us to vote on this. They don't want us to have that opportunity. So please give us that right and vote yes today. Thank you.
Next up, Chris Malin. Chris Malin, followed by Elizabeth Accomando. Sorry.
It's Chris Moylan, but last name's hard to pronounce. So, let me see here. Let me get away from this thing. I live and serve in the community. I moved to my home so I can raise a family and give them a wonderful childhood away from the drug houses, the gangbanging, and the poor lifestyle just a few miles down the road. I stand before you today asking myself why I have to be here to convince people that I have a right to vote on the future of my community. Big money wants to silence the little guy and persuade him that they no longer have a right to self-determination. I ask you why that is. It's because they don't care about us. What they want to figure out is how they can push you out and how many cookie-cutter homes they can put onto your plot of land, because an acre and a quarter can house a lot of homes. Sure, they promise such wonderful things to you for your compliance, like city water, paved roads, etc., hoping you forget that this is Florida and our water is questionable at best because of all the pollution. I'm sure you've forgotten just a few months ago the city of West Palm's city water got polluted and we had to ration out water so people actually had clean water. We as a community and as a nation have been sold lie after lie by people in power, people with money, that if we just do what they want, life will get better, but it only gets worse. How long are you going to go on with this lie? When someone out of state buys everyone out and turns this little slice of paradise into the exact thing they ran from, or is it when they send their goons onto your property with fines to tell you what you can or cannot have on your property? I'd rather live with dangerous freedom than peaceful compliance. This is my home, so I'll have a say on how it is run, just like everyone else in this community should, and not people outside of it. I finish with this. If you think they won't do whatever it takes to make a profit, always remember that that eyesore known as Westlake was only made because big money paid a bunch of felons to live in a trailer to rig the process. Thank you for your time.
Please. I'm going to ask again, please refrain from your applause. Mr. Malin, I'm assuming you're a firefighter. Thank you for your service. Next up, Elizabeth Accomando.
Good morning, honorable representatives and senators. Thank you for this opportunity to present this bill for a referendum. I personally was on the FCR committee. We spent many, many hours working on the charter, working to do whatever we could to protect and preserve our community. Personally, I have an animal rescue that its exact mission is to save the lives of homeless animals in Palm Beach County, and we're also a stray hold facility for the municipal shelter. So basically, we're an arm of the county. We rescue farm animals. We're on a very small but unknown area called Santa Rosa Groves, and many might not be familiar with it. We're several miles west of Seminole Pratt Whitney, and it is right next to where the GL Homes commercial residential parcel will be built, known as the Cowan parcel, which they have allowed us to put into our boundary. This will provide commercial revenue for us as well as additional tax base. All surrounding the Cowan parcel is 5 to 40 acre lots, and these are farms, nurseries, my rescue, and it's very important that we're trying to preserve that and not be taken over by the development that is become and slated all around us. Without home rule, there will be nothing that we can do to stop it. Most people moved out here for the peace and quiet, a place where their kids can grow up, a place reminiscent of a South Florida long gone that has been paved over in most places. South Florida's version of country life, and it's getting smaller and smaller. People, all the residents have farms, both hobby and high volume, a place for their buggies, their boats, their trucks,
Ms.
but yet
Accomando.
slowly
Time.
oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Philip Fender, please. And that's going to be followed by, Mr. Fender's going to be followed by Bob Morgan.
Good morning. Good morning,
morning.
delegation. Thank you so much for serving Palm Beach County. 1979, I said to my dad, I'm from Jamaica originally, and I said to my dad, Daddy, where should I go? Daddy was like, I am not leaving Jamaica under any circumstances. My mom lived in New York, and my dad said, go read. So I read the Constitution of the United States. One of the beautiful things about our country is that we have the right to vote. And this argument today is not about anything but do we have the right to vote. I am asking you, this delegation, this honorable delegation, to ensure that the 40+ thousand people in Loxahatchee, in the acreage, have that right. So I'm asking you today to vote yes so that we can vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bob Morgan, you're up next, followed by Tracy Karudi-Lanik.
Honorable,
Did I get it right?
Honorable Chair, Representatives, and Senators, good morning. My name is Bob Morgan. I am a farm owner and resident of the Loxahatchee community since 2016. I was asked to join the Acreage Landowners Association board soon after moving from Broward County due to my desire to create an agricultural venture on my property and assist others in doing the same. I am the current president of the Acreage Landowners Association and have held this position since 2018. I am also one of the Feasibility and Charter Review Committee members representing the Acreage Landowners Association, a nonprofit organization. The Acreage Landowners Association Board supports a referendum on self-government, and we also support the right to vote. I am also one of the 3 citizens group members that submitted the bill sponsored by Representative Rick Roth. I thank you very much for your support. Lastly, I'm also a disabled veteran who served to protect the rights of all Americans, of which the most precious being the right to vote. I support the passing of this bill, and I believe the feasibility study has shown that a municipality is feasible, sustainable, and affordable. I feel that anyone that is opposed to passing this bill today is taking away our community's right to vote on self-government. We thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Tracy Karudi-Lanik.
No. Tracy Grudzalanik.
Grudzalanik.
Tracy Grudzalanik. Nice Polish name.
Did I do well?
So,
Grudzalanik.
okay, good morning. A little bit about myself. My typical workday is auditing medical claims and documentation for Medicare compliance. I love my job. I'm pretty good at knowing Medicare regs, but sometimes I need outside counsel to help me with some clarifications. Quite frankly, I used to think Medicare regs were cumbersome and loaded with jargon the average person couldn't understand until I looked at the documents presented by the Incorporation of Loxahatchee, and then the opinions of many individuals that claim they are not in compliance with various laws. Well, with all these legal terms, phrases, and therefores, I am presuming if there was a concern with the incorporation documentation papers presented, this committee would have consulted outside legal representatives to ensure these items were presented were in order. So let's say for the case of argument, they are, which leads me to a few bullet points on thoughts of incorporation. As you know, years ago, the Board of County Commissioners approved a Monstarsis, a huge development out by us. This development has involved increased traffic and ruined our quietness of the area. Now they are supposedly wanting to get our roads, which why I'm assuming that they're trying to stop this process. I'm just asking you all to vote yes for the referendum, to let us make this decision, not just a few individuals who think that they have or say that they have the ears of you all. So please vote yes for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, next on public comment would be Frank Smokovic. And Frank is, let's see, is in favor of the bill. Daniel Brown wishes to speak. Daniel Brown, you are recognized to be heard.
Morning. First of all, I'd like to say that I would like to represent the people who couldn't make it here because they're working or never even heard about what's going on, okay? It was just a lot of people, because if the people knew what was going on and weren't working, this place, this whole parking lot would be full of people, all right? Now, first of all, the acreage in the Loxahatchee area, it was for us to get away from the city. All right, you have built the city all the way around us with Westlake and everything to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. All right, leave it alone. This is the acreage. Leave it alone. And the Loxahatchee. You've got your city. And I think I heard you say that you tried for 3 years to incorporate it. Why don't you take your energy and put it somewhere else? Work on something else and leave the people who want their property alone.
Sir, please don't address the members of the delegation in that manner.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you for speaking. Eugene and Lisa McCall, they do not wish to speak. They are in favor of the bill. Oh, wait, they're in favor of the bill. I'll read what they said so that we get it right. Eugene and Lisa McCall, we do not support incorporation, and we have the right to vote to preserve our homes in favor of this bill. So I don't know where they stand, actually. If they'd like a second, a thumbs up or thumbs down? Lisa? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Gail Zito, in favor of incorporation. Steve Burkhart, in favor of incorporation. Todd Covey wishes to speak. Todd, you're recognized. Please silence your phones.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Todd Covey. I've been a resident of the acreage for over 20 years. I just want to thank the members for their service. I know it's, I've served on boards before. It's such an easy job, I'm sure, right?
I'm sorry. Order, please. You begin again.
Just wanted to thank you all for your service. I know it's, I'm being obviously facetious here when I say it's an easy job. It's very difficult. I get that. You've heard a whole bunch of information presented to you. I'll make this pretty brief and short. So obviously, as you know, there's over 44,000 residents in our area. Yes. There's probably about 43,800 who are not here today. So we can recognize that. I think that's probably certainly a fact. And so because those folks are not here, we don't know what their voice is, right? And whether or not I agree with where we are on incorporating our area, what I do agree with is the process that we have taken. And I also think that it is important to recognize the decision made here is really around supporting what is necessary for our basic democratic principles in this country, which is the right for our citizens of our area to go to the polls and make a decision on whether or not we should incorporate or we should not incorporate, right? There's many questions which still have yet not been answered. There's a lot of people who, recognizing they may not be 100% aware of what's been happening, and there's some people who are aware. And some people feel like they already know what direction they're going to go. But at the end of the day, it should not be the sole discretion of a particular group, particular board, group of attorneys, a company like Minto, Westlake, or any other city that is surrounding us. It should be the right of the voters in our area to make that decision. So I encourage you to please
10 seconds.
Support this, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. Mark Peterson wishes to speak, and he'll be followed by Mr. or Mrs. Kunda, and then Alan Osier.
Good morning. I have been in the acreage since 1987. I've seen the changes, I've seen what's coming and going, and everybody's worried about their rights to vote. Well, that right was taken away from us when we didn't get the choice to vote for the referendum. It was taken around us. A good bit of the residents know nothing about what is going on. The transparency has been very questionable, and it's just not right. The feasibility is not right. I think it's the FDR or ER has pointed out the discrepancies. So it's just not time for this. It's not prepared right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kunda. Yeah, and if you could queue up behind Ms. Kunda here, Alan Osier, Chris Lyon, and Ken Cassell, if you could queue behind the podium so that you'll be ready to speak. You are recognized.
Thank you. I appreciate all
Lower
of
the
your
mic,
presence.
please.
Shorty. Okay. I appreciate your presence here, both citizens who wish to speak and wish to learn, and legislatures. My husband and I live in this area. I am a native Floridian born in Miami before there were 1 million people, when MacArthur Dairy still had cows. I support the right to self-determination. My husband does too. We don't like the lack of transparency, the fact that meetings about Loxahatchee are not held, in many cases, in Loxahatchee. They're all over around us, but they're not in Loxahatchee. I haven't decided whether I want to incorporate or not, neither has my husband, but I support the right to vote on that fact. My husband is a lawyer by trade. He does not practice it. He is an accountant. But he wanted to say, we need transparency. We need to hear both sides. We are polarized, the against incorporation, the for incorporation. We need to hear both sides. Why incorporate? Why not incorporate? Okay, he was raised in Milwaukee, and I will say in Krill Value Farmers, the city of Milwaukee recycles the human manure and turns it into Milorganite and sells it and makes money. Why can't we do that in Palm Beach County? We could do that with cattle manure. We could do it with human manure. We're not doing it, okay? If we're so worried about the environment, do something positive, okay? When my husband lived in Pennsylvania, the Amish people have horse buggies and horse places for their buggies. When they go shopping at Walmart, they're covered places for the horses so they can ride the horse to Walmart and shop. We need self-determination so we can do that here. If as horse owners and whatever owners, we want to take a golf cart or horse to go shopping. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alan Osea. Alan? Okay, next. Chris Lyon. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the delegation. My name's Chris Lyon. I'm with the law firm of Lewis, Longman & Walker, and I represent Minto Communities. I think I'm the outside influence everyone is referring to. I would, though, however, remind the delegation that we own thousands of acres in the city of Westlake, so we're a large landowner, and we are completely surrounded by the area that's in question here, so we think our voice is important as well. As an attorney,
Quiet, please.
As an attorney, law and process is very important to me, and as legislators, law and process should be very important to you. Last year, the Indian Trail Improvement District, through House Bill 1185, was specifically authorized to spend public dollars on a feasibility study for municipal conversion. In my 18 years of representing local government, this is the only time I've ever heard of public dollars being spent on a feasibility study. It's always been private dollars, but in this case, you all decided it was okay to spend public dollars. However, what should have been plainly apparent to the district is, once they got into this, is they don't qualify. On its face, they don't qualify for conversion. Rather than coming back to you, the legislature, and saying, we looked at it, we don't qualify, we'd like you to authorize us to spend dollars for a feasibility study to explore incorporation. Rather than doing that, they just moved forward on their own, spent thousands of taxpayer dollars on the feasibility study that brings us here today. I will point out, as has already been pointed out, that the legislature's Office of Economic and Demographic Research has spent 21 pages outlining the deficiencies in the feasibility study. I'll bring that home to mean there's two options that happens here. When this city fails, either the state is going to take it over, which means all the taxpayers of Florida will help cover the expenses of the city, or the more likely thing that will happen is the city will have to raise the taxes on the residents that live there. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the legislature oppose this local bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cassell. Next up is going to...
That was Chris.
No, that was Chris Lyon. Sorry about that. Mr. Cassell.
My name is Ken Castle. I'm a resident of Indian Trails. I live at 15628 96th Lane North. Moved there about 3 years ago. I'm also the city manager of the city of Westlake, and I'm also the district manager of the Seminole Improvement District. I'm primarily here today to give three messages. One, Seminole Improvement District opposes it because the process was flawed. You did not follow your House bill that was passed by you last year. You didn't follow it. At point A, which is authorization of 1650615, that process was not followed. Immediately, the district jumped from that to 041. That is wrong, and they spent my tax dollars on something they shouldn't have done. They should have gone through the process, which allows a vote by 40%. If 40% of the people sign the petition to say we want to go to a referendum, the referendum is there and a vote for conversion occurs. I know this because it was done in Westlake, in Seminole Improvement District. Yeah, because we had 6 residents. None of them were paid.
Order, please, order.
None of them were paid a penny, okay?
You will be removed with another outburst, please.
My point is, as some of the other people have already spoken to, Chris alluded to, if it's about law and process, this is not the way to do it. You all need to put this back to say, look, you need to go back to square one because you have violated what you were authorized to do. And as a resident, I'm totally upset about it, and I am opposed. I have not been out at public meetings because I know
10 seconds.
that I would be targeted as being a shill for either Sid or the Westlake. I'm a resident first. I have a job over there. I do my job.
Time, sir. Thank you. And members, I just want to let you know, if you did have a question, please just step right in and ask the question after the speaker's done, and we'll call him back to the stand. You don't need to just speak out. You don't have to get my recognition. Okay, Jeffrey Dance, followed by Jay Sweet, William Porter, and Karen Mock, I think. Can't read the writing.
What's the name again?
Jeffrey
Danitz.
Danitz? Danitz? Sorry, sir, can't read your writing.
I can't either.
You are recognized, sir. 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just on behalf of the residents here in the acreage. I live in the Indian Trails District. Moved here about 3 years ago. I'm a disabled veteran, 39 years of military service, and I only say that because I picked Florida because I want to retire here. I love the way you protect us from the national scene sometimes, and I appreciate, and I always vote when I have my opportunity, which puts us where we're at right now. Many of you I voted for because you're in my district, but I ask you, it's your turn to vote. It's your turn to consider the people in your district. As a veteran on a fixed income, I'm very concerned about any increase in taxes. I do not want to move out of my retirement home because I can't afford it. So just consider those veterans. And if you elect, I will cast my vote on the referendum when it's my time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Jay Sweet. 2 minutes.
Good morning. I want to thank the board for their time because I deal with public boards all the time, and I know it's a lot of effort. And you got to deal with us, the public, when emotions are high. That being said, I was on the committee to evaluate whether or not this should go forward. And I can tell you that I asked a lot of hard questions, and that a lot of things happened over that period of time because of those questions. And the questions that were asked are what caused the metamorphosis, if you will, of how this thing has changed. Because there was, and that's the purpose of that committee, to ask the questions to find out what and how things could happen. That's what happened. There was a lot of discussion, and just so that is how we got to where we are here today. Obviously, I am in favor of having a vote. I think that there are still items that will come to light, as with any election process, and you all are elected officials. You know that once you come out and say, I'm going to run, that all of a sudden everything, your positions, what's important, what's not important, are clarified. The same thing will happen here once this is approved to go forward with a vote. More issues will come out, the clarifications will happen, and the people will have an opportunity to vote with more information than they have today. That's the nature of politics. You all understand that, and I urge you to push us forward. The only other thing I would say, when you need to take with what Minto's representatives and Westlake's representatives say with a grain of salt, because they are in conflict with the Indian Trails Improvement District. There's lawsuits over road access and so forth, and so I don't know how much they really believe versus how much this is posturing for a settlement. And you
10
should
seconds.
consider that with that. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sweet. William Porter, you're recognized. That's going to be followed by Karen Mall, and then Pia Scorin.
I'm William Porter. I'm here with my entire staff, my very tall grandson over there. We are here in opposition to the incorporation process.
Okay.
It pleases me. It's the first time I've seen the entire congressional delegation and to see so many young people serving. It's quite a treat.
Some of us have gray hair.
Hair is good, yes.
Hair is good.
Do not proceed with this new attempt to incorporate the acreage. Our family moved here to the acreage in 1996 from Coral Springs. After nearly 20 years there, the area was becoming far too crowded, and the burdensome restrictions on what we could do, what we must not do, and what we were required to do were getting entirely too irritating. We purchased land and engaged a home builder in the acreage. We selected the acreage because there was no homeowners association, there was no local government, and there was plenty of room. The acreage is a low-density community. The homes are much farther apart than those found in the incorporated municipalities to our south. There are fewer people, much less traffic than we find in Royal Palm Beach or Wellington. Soon, we can expect the higher-density community of Westlake to demonstrate one more time that municipal governments are really only there for themselves and certainly not for the residents. This current push to incorporate the acreage is just another in a growing list of similar attempts. One group or another has repeatedly tried to gain some advantage for themselves by incorporating. The residents do not want incorporation. I know of none of my neighbors who is in support. Please keep the acreage low density in population and in regulation by stopping this new effort and wasteful effort to incorporate a new governing body.
Thank you, sir. Good timing, too. Karen Mall.
Man, very good. You got it the first try.
I had it right the first time.
First, I want to thank you all for having this on the agenda. I know what it's like going back and forth with Tallahassee. I've done that before. Can get tired, right? We know.
It's brutal from Palm Beach County.
Exactly. So I really appreciate it. One thing we all have in common, whether we're for or against, is that we live out in the acreage and we want to preserve what we have. We love what we have. We just have a different idea about how to get there. And I think that a lot of the misinformation is coming from the proponents, because I am recommending that you not go forward with this referendum. We've always had the ability to vote. We always will. Incorporation may be in the future, but right now it's not a good time. We are, and I'm just going through, the important thing is that you look at how that referendum, the feasibility study was devised. And just as you heard from many people, it was not done properly. It's very inaccurate. The cost, we have no retail. We have only residential, and this is what they're counting on. We don't want retail. We have this, it's a fact. We have Westlake, we're almost the donut hole now between the gardens, between Royal Palm Beach, between Westlake, and competing for retail space, the community development aspect of this, they just haven't thought it through. And this is not the time. And the important part to realize is that this voting aspect, people need to realize that our residents have changed. That voting block includes a lot of investor owners. Right now, there is a push to vote. There's a push to vote because a lot of them aren't residents. And there's a lot of different reasons for wanting to incorporate.
Time.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Pia Scorin.
Chair?
Yes, you're recognized.
I'd like to make a motion to extend the meeting. We have about a dozen speakers not on this issue that we would like to hear. So 30 minutes perhaps for an extension?
How long?
30 minutes?
30 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Okay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, we're extended till 12:30, and just to give you an idea, a 30-minute extension is extreme. but we understand the significance of what's going on here. So please be prepared to speak. I'm going to call Pia Scorn. Is that okay? And don't start it yet. Elizabeth Fontecchio, Peter Cololian, and Brad Williams. If you would all queue behind the podium so we can get through as quick as possible. Ms. Scorn, you are recognized.
Good morning. Thank you for coming and taking the time to take Pia as in Peter, I-A. Thank you for taking the time to take an interest in our community. Thank you, Betty, and thank you, Commissioner McKinley, for also sticking up for us when we need it. The good thing is, unlike many of the speakers today, we're not asking for money. Don't let my joke take away from either Palm Beach State College or the Palm Beach Public Defender's Office. They all need money. My heart and my tax dollars are with them.
1 minute.
My name is Pia Scorn, and I am here to talk about the Acreage Incorporation. Non-acreage residents are running a phone and internet campaign to keep acreage residents from voting. Acreage residents should have the right to decide their community's future. This week, I received phone calls and an internet ad spreading misinformation about the Acreage Incorporation. Please do not let this external campaign influence you. Please let the acreage residents exercise their right to vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scorn. Next up, Elizabeth Fontecchio and David Fontecchio.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on speaking, but that's okay. I just want to ask the board here to give us the right to vote. I moved in 2006, and what I'm seeing happening is not working for us as residents, so we want to have a voice so that we can decide what happens in our area. And I am for the incorporation.
Thank you. Peter Cololian, you're recognized.
Thank you, and thank you all for your service. I'm a 20-year resident of the acreage, and I'm confused. I'm confused as to why we didn't get to vote to have the referendum, why we didn't get to that 40%. I think we need to take a step back and do that. I'm not necessarily opposed to incorporation. I'm opposed to the process. And that's all I want to say. I agree with a lot of the people, and the Westlake town manager, who is an acreage resident, said it best. I mean, you know, I'm a resident here first, and I came here for this lifestyle 20 years ago. And again, I'm not necessarily opposed, but I want to have a say in it. And I'm confused, and I represent probably about 20 other homeowners that we just don't know, you know, why we weren't asked, why we didn't have a voice. So that's all I'm asking. For this time, for this referendum right now, I urge you to vote no. I urge you to bring it back to the acreage and let us decide. Thank you.
Mr. Cololian, question. You want to have a voice in it, but you are voting no to get a vote for it.
I'm voting to have it come back so that I know that 40% of the people in the acreage say, yes, they want this.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Brad Williams.
Exactly.
Brad Williams, you're recognized. 2 minutes, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for listening to me today.
Quiet, please.
I'd like to say it seems as though
Quiet.
Westlake is...
Quiet, please.
I'd like to say it seems as though Westlake is pretty political savvy and knows how to navigate this field. Me, myself, as a resident in Loxahatchee, I just learned what's going on recently. We don't hear about it. We don't know about it. There's a lot of people in the same situation as I am. When I talk to them about it, they want to get involved, and then it's 10 a.m. in Belgrade. They got to work. It doesn't happen. Well, I'd like to urge you guys to vote for the referendum. I think that you know, a lot of the residents they sit here and say that they do not want to incorporate because they want to preserve it as it is. I urge you to read through the charter. It specifically states that it is to preserve the characteristics of the community. That is what we want to do. Everybody is like, I don't want to incorporate. I didn't want to incorporate. till I read what's going on, what's going to happen. We want to preserve it as it is. We don't want to turn our two-lane roads that people paid out of their own pockets on that street to put speed humps. We don't want to turn that into four-lane highways with 20,000 cars a day. We don't. We want to keep the community as it is. We are the residents. And there are some residents that oppose it, but I bet if they read through it, if they truly say they want to preserve the community as it is, this is the only way. You're going to be living on Military Trail soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now we've got some that do not wish to speak. I'll just read through them. Charlotte Vermack is in favor. Susan Hughes, in favor. Jose Villacres, opposed. Michael Soroza, opposed. Michael Fontecchio, supports. Tim Foley, are you present? Present. Are you in favor or opposition? Okay, undecided. That's what I thought. Okay. Michelle Christensen, opposed. Ed Rago, opposed. Leah Ball and Brian Ball, in favor. And that's it. Well, thank you, public. Thank you, everybody, for coming out here. That's, this is what America's all about. It's what our Constitution in Florida is about. And I appreciate the discussion. We're past public comment. We're past public comment. Oh, well, we're going to vote on this bill. We're going to have questions from members. We're going to have debate from members first, and then we'll go to a vote at that point. So, members, we are in debate. No, we are in questions. No, okay, I'll go back. Members, any questions? Members for, no, members for a question.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, you're recognized, Senator.
Thank you for that. Representative Roth, thank you for bringing this bill forward today. The question I have, and it seems as if many of the members of the community are not fully aware of what's going on here. We've talked about incorporation. Does the feasibility study that has been presented here indicate that it would be feasible to create a new municipal government for the village of Loxahatchee, and would it be sustained? Does it have the ability to be sustainable, or is that not clearly identified in the feasibility study that was completed on December 3rd?
Representative Roth, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and thank you, Senator, for that question. Again, this process is working very well. We're getting more information. I have relied on other people as to the feasibility study and whether it means that Loxahatchee does going to be successful as a village and that income will exceed expenses. I've looked at the numbers. The numbers show that there's about a 4.8% more income than expenses the first full year. It is my understanding from talking to Indian Trails and other people that the numbers in expenses and in income are conservative. My understanding is if you're assuming that the purpose of incorporation is to preserve the lifestyle and the rural flavor and equestrian and agricultural, that there will not be a big increase contemplated in town expenses. One of the main things they're going to be dealing with is code enforcement and those type of issues. So I think, quite honestly, the feasibility study does have good information, and at this point, we can be in favor of this bill based on that information, and we know that Tallahassee...
We're not in debate,
Yes.
Representative.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? Representative Casello.
Yeah, just a question to Representative Roth. Will the Indian Trails District, will that be dissolving if this passes?
Representative Roth, you recognize for a quick answer.
Yes, the quick answer is no. We're going to remain an independent district. This is by far the most simple approach.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions, members? Any other questions? Follow-up.
Thank you, Chair. So the new city will be paying the taxes?
You're
right?
recognized.
Yes, sir. The current feasibility study anticipates 3 mills, and if you have a home costing around $350,000 with homestead exemption, you will basically break even. So some people have higher taxes and obviously more local control, and other people will be paying less.
Representative Casella for a follow-up.
Thank you. What kind of a revenue loss would this mean to the county if that was to happen, like from the communication-related taxes and such? Do we have numbers on that?
Representative Roth, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. I do not have all the numbers in front of me. It's obviously clear to everybody that the county would be a loser in this because they are basically benefiting from the unincorporated area. Obviously, but that's kind of irrelevant in my mind. I'm not concerned about Palm Beach County's tax situation. What I'm concerned about is it feasible for the residents, and will their taxes be going up a lot or just a little? So that's more my concern.
Follow-up.
Thank you, Chair, for your indulgence. So the loss, would that, the shared revenue loss, would that be spread across the other 39 cities?
Representative Roth.
I think the loss to the county would have an impact on the budget. It would have an impact on the way they do business, and they would have to do accordingly. Obviously, if they need to reduce services or increase taxes, that would be their responsibility, yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, I believe that would be shared by the other cities. Yes. Any other questions, members? Representative Wilhite, is that a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Roth, could you just expound a little bit more on when you said a resident with $350,000 house or homestead exemption would break even? Explain to me where that break even, or where I think you're stating there would be some lost taxes to someone but to then make up for whatever this is. Explain to me where that break even in that discussion, if you could, please.
Okay, so if you have, and I have a simple understanding of this. I'm not saying I'm the expert, but if you have a $350,000 house with $50,000 of homestead exemption, that's $300,000 taxable. At 3 mills, that's $900. But you're also paying non-ad valorem taxes. What we're saying is those non-ad valorem taxes would go down as your 3 mills would go up. Obviously, you're paying 3 mills in ad valorem, but your non-ad valorem will go down. That was the example. I'll be totally frank with you, Representative. Thank you for the question. This is an example that was given during the charter amendment process, and that's where I'm getting those numbers from. If it changes because of going from dependent to independent, I do not have those numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Harrell, you recognize.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And is this really ultimately a decision then of the voters as to whether they look at their taxes and evaluate whether they want to incorporate or not, as opposed to really looking at the feasibility study? If they decide that it's going to raise their taxes and they want to vote no, that's their decision. But this bill is really the purpose not to look at that, but to give the voters the opportunity to make that decision, not us make that decision for them.
Please, Representative Roth.
Yes, thank you for that question. I think it's clear to most people that this is a referendum bill and allows people to make that decision. The thing that troubles me in this transparency process is this has been going on now for about 5 or 6 months in the local community, and a lot of people still aren't aware of it. But yet you have people already saying in this room that we don't want to incorporate. And they don't have that much information. So we just got the EDR study, we're just getting the DOR study, and they've already made up their mind they don't want to incorporate.
Is this debate, Representative?
No, ma'am, no, sir, so I'm sorry. So my point is that this is just an opportunity, if this bill passes, for the process to then begin over the next 12 months to educate the public.
Thank you. Senator Powell for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Roth, you just indicated that the EDR study and the DOR study recently came out, and originally the feasibility study was due by September 6th. And just follow me along here. If it was revised and revamped and resubmitted by December 3rd as a completely different study, are you telling me that the exact same process and the process necessary to move forward has been followed to the T? And is this the same process that has been used by other municipalities when moving forward with regard to incorporation?
Thank you for that
You're
question.
recognized, sir.
I think the answer is simply, yes, we are following the process. We did have to amend the feasibility study because we amended the bill to make it an independent district. But the good news is we have that information in front of us now, so we did follow the legal and statutory process. Yes.
Follow up, Senator Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Roth, being that this information has been presented here today, and many of the members who've come to speak before us publicly have indicated that they had no idea that meetings were going on within the community, and sometimes people have believed they've happened outside of the community. Do you think that this is not ready for prime time, it's not ripe, and that residents in the community should probably have a better opportunity to understand what's going on?
Representative Roth for an answer.
Well, I think the answer to that is this is the process that we're going through, and there is no, I don't see any objectionable reason that we don't proceed with this bill. This bill is part of the process. People will be going to Tallahassee from Loxahatchee that want to speak for the bill, want to speak against the bill. It's clearly part of the process. Delaying the process because some people are not aware of what's gone on the last 6 months, I don't think is the correct procedure.
Senator Powell for a follow-up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And as you clearly pointed out to me earlier, I am an AICP certified planner, and public participation is one of the most important things that planners do. Our number one goal, according to the Code of Ethics, is to serve the public interest. And with that, I believe that it's important for people in their communities to have the opportunity to have a complete understanding. So do you think that it would be possible that we could have another opportunity for the individuals inside of the community to have more meetings and a better understanding prior to this going to Tallahassee and forcing them to travel? He said no.
You're recognized.
Clearly,
order, please. You're
clearly,
recognized.
the process is working, and the decision-making process and the information process and the campaign process will take place after the bill is passed. We do have a great opportunity to move forward, and people are going to be more involved during the next 6 months as they anticipate this bill being passed. So I think the process is working well. I've said to people all along, the process is transparent. If you don't know about it, I'm sorry, but the process is the process, and we're going forward. I think that's the best course, the best approach.
Representative Hardy for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Roth, to your knowledge, these public meetings, were they held pursuant to the Sunshine?
Representative Roth for an answer.
Yes, sir. They were held in the Sunshine. Yes, sir.
Representative Hardy for a follow-up.
That's it.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? There being no other questions, questions are closed. Is there a motion to approve this local bill?
So moved.
No. Let's see. No, we got to go to debate. So, yeah, absolutely. Debate, we move to debate. And debate, we're going to limit the time to a couple minutes, not by the clock, but just let's keep it reasonable, members, okay? So we'll start at that end with Representative Casello for debate.
Thank you, Chair. Thank everybody for coming here today on both sides. I respect your opinions. Coming from local government, I think local government knows best. And I think that the people here, I've heard both sides here, some say, oh, I've talked to all my neighbors, they don't want it. The other one gets up, all my neighbors, we want it. I think this will be settled at the ballot box. That's where this needs to be settled, okay? And whatever the outcome is, it is. I find it a little bit ironic that the mayor of Westlake was here, and that got incorporated, by 6 votes. And I was told that a former senator made an amendment on the House floor, on the Senate floor rather, to get it incorporated. So there's no debate, no discussion at all how that went through. And we probably know the backstory to that also. So I'm going to be in favor of voting for this. I think that this feasibility study that we talk about that says, some say it's flawed, I don't have an opinion on that. But I can tell you, once this feasibility study gets to Tallahassee, it will be vetted. It will be turned inside and out. It will go through committees, and questions will be asked. And if it's flawed, the bill is dead. But I think we should have at least that opportunity to bring it forward and see where the outcome comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Harrell, you're recognized for debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank everyone for coming out today. This is extremely important that your voices are heard, and that's why we are here, to hear you. And I've been involved in other issues where there's been incorporation questions before in Martin County. And in fact, the 2 newest cities, or the newest city in the state of Florida is Indiantown. And we did a bill for 2 cities in Martin County. One was for Hope Sound, and one was for Indiantown. And very interestingly, the voters decided in Indiantown to become the village of Indiantown, whereas the voters in Hope Sound decided not to become the town of Hope Sound. To me, voting, putting things before the people to make the decision is the best form of democracy. That is direct democracy. And that's why I will vote for this bill today, to give the voters the opportunity to hear those arguments, to hear the pros and cons, debate, is this going to be in my financial interest or not? Let the voters speak. So today, I will be voting for this bill.
Thank you, Senator Harrell. Senator Bobby Powell.
Thank you,
debate.
Mr. Chair. I appreciate it, and thank you, Representative Roth. I also want to thank the residents here, both those in opposition and those who are in support of this measure. The question is not whether this is up for referendum. The major part of the question is, has the process been followed thoroughly? In order for things to get to a referendum, and I want to thank you, Mr. Chair, for the comprehensive memo that you provided to us as a delegation, and to point out a couple of things, the feasibility study having been changed from September 3rd to December 3rd, and the fact of going from an independent to a dependent study. The idea that many of the residents who came up today indicated that they did not know whether today was the vote in order to move forward with a referendum, or had this been an opportunity to go back to the community, because many of the residents have not been properly informed. As a planner, what we do, part of our process, let's say we're putting a project in an area, you would send out a mail piece, a mailer, an advertisement, allowing the public to have an opportunity to participate. As it was pointed out earlier that I am a planner, public participation is a major issue. I don't think we get out in front of something and say, well, we're going to start doing this and we'll tell everybody about the process in the future. And what I do know as a person who has been elected for nearly 10 years at this point, is one of the biggest problems that we have in politics, in policy, is a process in which people are not informed in terms of what they are voting for or voting on, and politicians and those of us who are elected put things before people before they even know what's really going on. Now, democracy delayed is not democracy denied. And this is not an opportunity where we say with all deliberate speed. What we're simply saying here is, what I'm simply saying here is, this process is different from the process that has been followed by other municipalities in order to be incorporated. Henceforth, we'll be setting a precedent, as is stated directly in the memo that's put before us here today, by moving forward with this bill. In that case, because I don't think we're following the process as it has been followed, and then this would allow the opportunity, as has happened in state government before, to keep doing things incorrectly in terms of moving forward, which does not benefit residents. I will absolutely, unequivocally have to be against this today. We can fix this prior to going to Tallahassee, and because of that, it's a no for me. Thank you.
Representative Wilhite for debate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative Roth, for bringing this forward. You know, your diligence and hard work on it is commendable, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And that's all of our jobs, and obviously, this is the area you represent, and I appreciate that you worked on this and listened to those residents so much. A few things I have a great concern with. I'm concerned about the maps. I mean, just look at the map, the way it looks, and we talk about gerrymandering. I don't like the way the map looks, and I can tell you the town of Waxahachie Groves is concerned about the map. It cuts them off. And they were at the last meeting, and when we delayed this, but they didn't come today. It gives me concern about the way the maps look. I just don't like the way it looks. I don't like the idea of independent versus dependent not being completely dependent. I passed a bill for the town of Waxahachie Groves to make their water control district dependent of the city. I think it should be that way. Wellington's that way, areas that way. I don't think we should have another layer of government in this area. It gives me great concern. I think it's been brought up today about a lot of the process. How has it been done? How has it gone? What has been done? And those questions that a lot of people are raising. You know, frankly, I've had a lot of residents call me just about the name. You don't really like the name. You know, I get it. Not everybody's going to like everything, but the name gives me a little bit. I get that. And, you know, another thing is a lot of misinformation. Everyone says misinformation. It's whatever you choose to believe or whatever someone's, you take that information in, formulate it, and make an opinion on. But I don't think there's really misinformation. I think not everybody's just educated on every aspect of it, is what I would say. Okay. You know, literally last night I had another friend of mine that lives in the affected area calling me asking about it last night at 9 o'clock, still trying to find out information. And so that gives me concern when people in that area. But with that said, I do come from local government. I do understand and respect home rule. I do believe that people should be able to decide their own destiny. They move to an area, they get engaged, they get involved, and they decide, and they get hopefully involved in their community, that they decide their own destiny. And if they want something to happen, then they work in that process, and that's what's happened here. This has been said, it will go to Tallahassee, it will go through a process, it will be vetted, it will go through committees, you know, and frankly, if it doesn't pass muster in what's happened, I believe that the state staff will not allow this to continue because they're not going to put their name on something that's improperly done as well. So with that, you know, I appreciate the idea that yesterday I spoke to 4 classrooms of high school students about being involved in their government and having a voice and a vote. And so with that being said, if I can do that and speak to them yesterday about it, I should offer that here to the residents of this area as well, too. And so it's not my choice as a Tallahassee bureaucrat to hold someone back from doing something. I think I should give you the opportunity to decide for yourself, and that is why I believe that democracy should work here, and that I'll pass this to Tallahassee, let it be vetted through the process, and should it come back to you residents of the area that are affected, then you should decide on your fate and your future. And so I'll move this forward to allow this to be heard and vetted, and for the residents of this area to ultimately have the vote and to say what happens in their future. And so I'll be voting in favor of this bill today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Hardy for debate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to mention a few of the objections that I've heard and read about this bill, in particular with the feasibility study, right? Basically, they said that the study was late, that it was faulty in a few ways, it didn't consider the cost of acquiring roads from the Indian Trail Improvement District, it didn't consider the financial liability associated with the Minto lawsuit, and that the state found some deficiencies with the study. And also it was said that there's a dangerous precedent being set here, and I just want to address some of those. So look, the costs of acquiring roads from the Indian Trail District is not included in the feasibility study. That's 100% true. But the bill does not require that the newly incorporated village acquire or obtain those roads in the first place. If you look at lines 660 through 662, it gives the municipality the option but not the obligation to do so. And, furthermore, I would be curious to see what the cost of such a transfer would be, because these roads, and I feel this way generally about roads, I'm not sure that they're assets, and, Mr. Chair, you're an accountant. I think of assets as things that turn into cash or that have the ability to generate cash. But, these roads are, to the municipality that owns them, they're a liability. The whole dispute between Minto and the improvement district is over the fact that the improvement district knows that they sink a lot of money into these roads, maintaining them. And Minto, they want the gravy without any of the grief. They want access to the district's roads, and they don't want to have to pay or compensate the district for this access. They don't assert that maintaining all these roads isn't a pain. They don't assert that it isn't a liability for the district. They just say that it's their pain. They just say that it's their liability. They just want all the gravy and none of the grief. And so I don't see this particular fault as being really faulty. It's an option for the newly incorporated area or not. And even if they were to acquire it, I'm not sure that it would be that big of a deal. In addition to that, the financial liability associated with the Minto lawsuit should probably be there if we know that the village is going to acquire those roads. But again, we don't know that. And there is a point to all the little objections about the feasibility study that I can't ignore that I actually think is really important. How can voters give their informed consent in a referendum if the feasibility study, which is meant to provide them with all the relevant information, is faulty? And you know what? I actually agree that the feasibility study could have been better. It could have had more information or a better analysis of the issues at play. But assessing the quality of the information you have and determining whether more information is needed to vote to change something, all that is part and parcel of making an informed choice about the question before you as a voter. So if you feel that you don't have enough information, and if you feel that the proposal is half-baked, then just vote it down and convince your friends and neighbors to vote it down. There is a last objection here that about the feasibility study that I want to consider alongside a broader objection, and then I'll be done. EDR noted that the feasibility study has some deficiencies, namely that it violated one of the 6 standards for incorporation that have been set out in state statute. And the broader obligation that works with this is that this sets a dangerous precedent, because we're passing a law to allow a city to circumvent the processes for incorporation that have been set out in statute. Folks have mentioned this over and over again. This is basically saying that lawmakers should not pass a law because it would conflict with other laws, but we change laws all the time. We make exceptions to laws all the time. Every year we do this. And so, this bill, if passed, it would create an exception for this village to existing processes and standards for incorporation that are set out in the statute. So it's kind of missing the point to say that there's a problem because it doesn't conform with the statute. We're changing the statute. That's what we're here debating. And then not changing the statute in a general sense to apply to all cities, but we are adding something to the law to carve out a special process for this city. And I think we should be arguing about the wisdom of that and not necessarily that this deviates from an established process. And so all this comes down to this. We are not the residents of Loxahatchee. We're not voting today on whether the folks there should incorporate or not. We are here to vote on whether they should have a choice, a chance to make that decision for themselves. We've heard from folks here who say they favor incorporation. That's not what we're here to discuss. We've heard from folks say that they oppose it. I'm not taking a side here, and none of us are taking a side here. I just think that the people in this community should have their ability to make their choice known. The same way that the property owners in Westlake made their choice known. And you know, I just think that it's important for us to leave this matter to them. I have a friend who says his superpower is minding his business. This is not my business, it's their business. It's the voters and the people of this area's business, and I want to let them decide it.
Thank you, Representative Hardy. Any other members on the debate?
Chair, do I
Well,
get to close?
Representative,
Do I get to debate?
I'll let you close.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. But I'd like the debate also. When Representative Roth brought this bill to me, I reviewed it. In fact, I think I've spent more time on this bill than my own bills that I'm running this year. And it's Representative Roth and I I feel like we're roommates now. We've been together so long. He's relentless. But when the first feasibility study that I reviewed came across my desk, I had serious problems with it because it included that the Indian Trail Improvement District be a dependent district, and there was issues of disenfranchisement, and lots of issues came up, and so and Representative Ross said, well, let's. This is a bill about voting rights, and let's bring it forward and let the people decide. I said, I've got a responsibility as a chair of this committee that we don't bring something forward to the citizens of the improvement district that is against our statutes. And so Representative Roth brought this back to the members, the citizens that are pushing this agenda, and they came back with another feasibility study. The first one was filed timely, and so the second one was an amended feasibility study. And we've had amended feasibility studies in the past that come in after the deadline of September 6th. The original one was filed September 3rd, the deadline September 6th, and then the amended came in based on the delegation's objections. So they came back. Typically, they don't come back as complete redos, though. And that's the precedent that I think Representative Hardy was addressing earlier, and Representative Wilhite. And so that was a concern. But I'm going to, under the idea that it is an amended feasibility study, we go from there. So let's look at the amended feasibility study, and it's got issues. There's the Department of Revenue pointed out issues, the EDR pointed out issues, some of those things are the feasibility study, the new one, the amended one, doesn't consider the cost of taking over the roads. It doesn't address ongoing litigation with Minto. It doesn't, it's got issues. It also, it doesn't account for, and I want everybody to note this, it doesn't account for the timing of revenue that's coming in. It assumes that the first year, 100% of the revenue that they expect is going to come in equally during that year. And it doesn't work that way. And staff's pointed out to me that they can apply for a minimum distribution from the Department of Revenue, but that will not be the same amount of dollars coming in that first year as they anticipated. They'll get a lump sum makeup afterwards. So they're going to have to find some way to carry this. So that being said, the undertaking of a new municipality is a big, huge responsibility. And in the state, we've seen a lot of municipalities fail. And when they fail, it's very ugly. And they get, they fall in disrepair, and they start deferring maintenance on everything. And then communities really get upset, and finally counties come back in. The legislature disbands the cities that are in a mess, and the counties come back in and take over again. But the village wants to protect the community's character, that being a rural community. You've got dirt roads out there. You've got big acreage out there. You've got, horses and, almost a farming type of lifestyle. And so I understand that everybody wants to protect that lifestyle. That's why you move there. And that's important. And so when it goes to the Florida House and the Senate, that's a big process. And it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of work. And I would hope that before it gets there, if it does pass here today, I would hope that this feasibility study is amended again, okay, to make up for the deficiencies that every one of the members here has talked about today, and that some of you just spoke of on the thing there, so that when the full House and the full Senate votes on it, and the committees that it goes in front of have good information that they can pass this on to. But in light of what I think our firefighter that was here earlier, Chris Malin, he said, let the people decide. And I strongly believe that it's important that, the people decide on this thing, and that's why I'm going to be in support of this bill. And I've been against it for a long time, but I want the people to decide on their own. And everybody that came up here and opposed it, or understand we are voting to pass it forward so that you can decide if you want to incorporate your own place. So with that being said,
Chair.
yes.
A motion, please.
Motion?
Motion to extend the meeting after the close, which I hope is very, very short. We still have 11 people who would like to speak. I would like to accord them each the 2 minutes that everyone else here got. It came a very long way. So we need another 25 minutes, hoping that the close is very short.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're going to go to call the roll on the motion. All in favor of extending?
Aye.
Aye.
All against?
Extended, yeah, I'm yay.
It's extended. Okay, so we go forward. That being said, there's a formality I have to take care of here, and that is I need a motion, and I'll understand this is not a vote on the bill at this moment. This is a vote to vote on the bill. Okay? Is there a motion to approve to go forward on a vote on this bill?
I move to call, yes.
Is there a second? Second. There's a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against, nay? Okay, we will move forward to it. So with debate being ended, Representative Rick Roth, you are recognized for a short close.
I'm going to make this very short, but I do need to say two very important things. I left out of my opening remarks the issue about the Minto lawsuit. If you were to read the data that I have read and read the opinion of the lawyers involved, Minto is counting on easements they got in 1976, and they do not, in my opinion, have the right to use roads in Indian Trail because they have not been declared public roads. This lawsuit is a total scam. Having said all that, I am thankful to the members of my delegation that I have talked to for them being willing to go forward with this bill. Most of them, I think, are in favor of going forward with this bill. This will let the citizens of unincorporated Loxahatchee decide for themselves if they want to protect their current agricultural and equestrian land uses from being changed by the Palm Beach County Code Enforcement, and also to go to a vote to determine their own destiny by being able to go to referendums. So members, I'm asking for you for your support of this good bill. Let's allow it to be vetted in Tallahassee. Let's make it better. Let's make it work together for Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Executive Director Vicki Nolan, will you call the roll, please?
Representative Caruso.
Yes.
Representative Casello.
Yes.
Representative Hardy.
Yes.
Representative Roth.
Yes.
Representative Skidmore. No. Representative Wilhite.
Yes.
Senator Berman.
No.
Senator Harrell.
Yes.
Senator Polsky. No. Senator Powell.
No.
Mr. Chairman, according to the delegation rules, local bills are passed with a majority vote of House members present and a majority vote of Senate member present. Having not received the votes, this bill, local bill, does not pass.
This bill fails, and we will move on to our presenters. I want to thank everybody for coming out here today. Yeah, we'll let everybody clear out.
Thank y'all for coming.
Presenters, I hope you have the orders. It's
Thank you.
James Eisenberg, Linda Smith. and
Excuse
Fitz.
me, could everybody do orderly
If you could
leave
exit
the room?
quietly.
Because we have other presenters, and we allowed your time, so we need to allow their time. So please leave the room. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you.
I would encourage the public here to bring it back next year.
I had to.
Right.
I can't stand
Bring
this
it back
anymore.
next year. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, no worries.
Yeah. I need order.
Let's take a 5-minute.
Order, please. Order.
Take a 5-minute recess.
Thanks for coming.
Quiet, please. Order, please. Okay, Mr. Eisenberg,
Thank you very much. And
you're
good-
recognized.
Good afternoon to everybody. It's been a very interesting morning because I am here representing the League of Women Voters of Palm Beach County, and we are the professionals at getting people and counting their votes and making sure that votes count. I'm here today to talk about redistricting on the state level. Thank you for this opportunity to address you today. We know that many of you have been very in contact with our state president on this critical issue. Much has happened since our last statement to the delegation. Both the state, Senate, and House committees have now released their initial maps, and the Senate map appears, at least for first review, to show a good faith effort to honor the Florida Constitution. There is even some bipartisan support for it. That means it complies with the Fair Districting Amendment, which was passed 10 years ago. Unfortunately, the House maps raise serious concerns and questions about constitutional compliance. The technical methods of their construction and the data used, they have problems. They have immediately caused concern they would create unconstitutional gerrymandering. I don't have the time to go into details here. The legislative redistricting committees will continue their work in the 2022 session, but I would like to request the following on behalf of the League of Women Voters, Palm Beach County. One, please advise the leadership when you go back to Tallahassee that the Senate maps probably will serve as a basis for a constitutionally
10 seconds.
reasonable approach. 2, insist on public release of the underlying data. And 3, please hold local or regional electronic or in-person town hall meetings to inform the public about the maps and redistricting. And then we won't have problems of which you saw earlier on the issue before you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you holding the meeting for us.
Thank you, Mr. Eisenberg, and I want to say to all the presenters, thank you for your patience. You know, we had to go through this process, and it's a beautiful process, actually. And we just didn't allocate enough time, didn't anticipate this many speakers. So thank you for waiting, and I'm glad everybody stayed until now. So next up is going to be Linda Smith from the Sierra Club, Loxahatchee Group.
Linda Smith. I live in Jupiter, Florida. I'm here today as a citizen and the Executive Committee Chair for the Sierra Club Loxahatchee Group, representing over 6,000 members and supporters in Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Okeechobee counties. You'll be hearing from me and some of our volunteers during the legislative session. I don't mean this as a threat, I mean it as a pledge. Please refer to the Sierra Club top priority legislative asks, which was in your packet today. Please share these with your staff. Also refer to the Sierra Club Priorities 2022, which was included in your packet on October 28th meeting in West Palm Beach. During this session, please support our local jurisdiction. As Commissioner McKinley said, I'm asking you basically to oppose Senate Bill 620, local government. Do not allow local businesses to sue local governments if they feel an ordinance hurts their bottom line. There is more at stake here than individual companies' profits. Our local governments need the ability to look at the whole balance sheet for the community. Some of our most precious assets, like the Loxahatchee River, do not show up on any business's bottom line. Please support and enhance the Florida Agricultural Department's 3-year polystyrene phase-out plan, and also seagrass mitigation, banking, and water resource management is an oppose. You can't just move seagrass like a mobile home. It just doesn't work. Do not cave to the developers. Make the decision for your constituents. Please oppose changes to the net metering of solar. This will take away incentives for individuals to make the investment in solar. FP&L doesn't want individuals to have control of their energy bills. I really don't understand this one. I pay for the panels, I pay for the installation.
5 seconds.
And I pay the real estate for the solar, and my power goes on the grid, which allows FP&L to reduce or turn off their most expensive, usually dirtiest power plants. And I would be remiss to not ask you to help stop the burning of sugarcane. This community where we're meeting in
Time.
has suffered enough. Don't waste a second worrying about the changing of the state bird. Please spend hours preserving the mockingbird's habitat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next up, Candy Spitz from Love Serving Autism. Ms. Smith, Ms. Spitz, you are recognized.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know most of you know me as the Development Director of 211 Helpline, but today, and more importantly, I'm here as the proud parent of twins who have autism. As many of you can relate to, my twins were born perfectly healthy, and throughout the first year of their life, they hit every developmental milestone right on time. But at the age of 17 months, they started to regress. And over a 2-week time period, they lost every skill that they had. They stopped walking, talking, eating, playing, eye contact. You couldn't touch them, hold them, kiss them. And in just an instant, my babies with a perfect smile were gone. When they turned 3, we moved here to Palm Beach County, rolled them in the Palm Beach School for Autism, and I quickly threw them into every activity I could find. And it was at one of these activities that I met Lisa Puglisi of Love Serving Autism. And when she kind of insisted that we try autism or tennis with the boys, I was kind of taken back thinking, I need a therapy. I don't need a sport to put them in. I figured we'd give it a try, but the results were phenomenal. For 11 years now, my twins have worked with Coach Lisa, the last 4 of which through her new organization, Love Serving Autism. 90% of the participants improve expressive language, social skills, following directions. I've watched the change in my boys as a result of this program and the love and the dedication that Lisa puts into every single participant. Now, on average, families spend $60,000 per year per child to deal with special needs of those with ASD. We need affordable opportunities. We need fitness and social skills. And more importantly, we need kind of a one-stop setting where they can have speech, OT, physical therapy, social skills training. And this isn't unique to my family. The CDC just released the numbers 3 days ago that autism prevalence is now 1 in 44 kids. And 1 in 6 students here in Palm Beach County has a developmental disability. That means thousands of kids right here in Palm Beach County are completely underserved. Love Serving Autism's goal is to expand the reach and impact through 2 funding initiatives, both a facility and for programming. At age 14, I've already seen the impact of such programs on my kids, and I'm so proud of the young men that they are becoming. So on behalf of me, my sons, and every family that's facing these challenges, I just kindly request that you consider her funding request. Thank you.
Ms. Spitz, thank you. I know a lot of the members here and senators sponsor legislation appropriations for the autism community and research. And with 1 out of 44, when I was having children, 7 kids, it was 1 out of 2,000. And I hope that the money that we do spend finds a cause and effect for this condition. So thank you for coming here and sharing today. And thank you for your work. Next up, Charles Duval with Career Source Palm Beach County.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My name is Charles Duval, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Business Services here with Career Source Palm Beach County. Our top priority is job placements, and we work in partnership with area business and community leaders, the Business Development Board, the Lake Okeechobee Regional Economic Alliance, Palm Beach State College, the school district, and other key stakeholders in combined efforts to increase employment and economic opportunity in the area. During the past 5 program years, Career Source Palm Beach County has helped place more than 6,400 Glades area residents in jobs with salaries from these creating $120 million in annual wages. We also provide $1.6 million in job training funds to local employers and residents. We work collaboratively to help local businesses grow and attract new businesses to the area. This includes supporting the Business Development Board's efforts to bring 4 new employers to the area that could provide nearly 200 new jobs. The most recent of these is FinFrock, one of Central Florida's largest employers. Tomorrow, we'll be holding a job fair for their 94-acre, 140,000 square foot precast concrete manufacturing facility that is the largest economic development project the Business Development Board says they have facilitated in the Glades in 30 years. The job fair will be held from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at our Belglade Career Center. FinFrock is offering 40 jobs at several skill levels, along with opportunities for career advancement and additional training. For 4 consecutive months, there are more job openings than unemployed people in Palm Beach County. Our latest unemployment rate is 4.4%, below the 4.3% national rate and matching Florida's rate. There are 24,400 more people working today compared to last year. Thank you for your support in helping Career Source and the Glades communities move forward to a brighter future, and it's been my pleasure to present in front of you today.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, members? Good. We appreciate your patience coming out here, and most importantly, we appreciate the placement of 6,400 individuals in this area. That's outstanding. Changing lives every day. Thank you. Next up, Deborah Gottlieb, Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County. Before you get started, Ms. Gottlieb, I want to thank Mr. Weeks and Mr. Hypen from Belglade Housing Authority, and that their contact will be shared with members in case they have questions. We all got the reports. Where's my report? I was just looking at it. We all got the reports, and we'll be reviewing those, and we'll all be available if you have any questions. I know you will be available if we have any questions. Thank you. Ms. Gottlieb, you are recognized.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Deborah Gottlieb. I'm the General Counsel and Chief of Legislative Affairs for the Children's Services Council of Palm Beach County. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. On behalf of the Children's Services Council and our CEO, Lisa Williams-Taylor, I want to thank you for your support last session when Healthy Start funding was in jeopardy. I reached out to several of you for help to restore these funds. The Children's Services Council serves as the Healthy Start Coalition of Palm Beach County and uses Healthy Start funds to support programs that reached more than 12,000 families last year. With your help, the funds were not only restored, but were increased. Thank you. Our current focus this year, along with the other CSCs throughout the state, relates to what's known as the fiscal cliff or the cliff effect. Families that are working towards economic self-sufficiency face disincentives to progress in their wage earnings. Even a small wage increase can result in disqualification from programs such as TANF, Section 8, child care subsidies, or public health insurance. Families sometimes are faced with declining even a nominal increase so they don't lose a critical benefit. We will support and hope you will lend your support as well for changes to eligibility to the Florida Kid Care Program. Presently, families whose household income exceeds of the federal poverty line move from a monthly premium of $15 to $20 with very little out of pocket to a full pay option of $215 a month with deductibles around $6,000 a year. And this represents a very significant fiscal cliff. There are 3 bills pending, HB 419, HB 135, and SB 640. The bills incorporate an increase to the income threshold and also propose a graduated or tiered approach to premiums for kid care. While the best methodology still needs to be worked out, our hope is that the eligibility criteria can be modified to decrease or smooth the cliff effect, whereby families can gradually move out of public assistance without having to sacrifice economic self-sufficiency.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gottlieb. Next up is Kelly DeVito from Moms Demand Action.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelly DeVito, and I'm a volunteer with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. We are a grassroots group whose mission it is to reduce gun violence of all types. I want to thank you on behalf of our Palm Beach County volunteers for the opportunity to speak with you today. I am here to share some of our legislative priorities this session and ask for your support. First, we are expecting to see a bill filed by Senator Bracey, one that would create an Office of Community Violence Intervention and Prevention. This office would be designed to better utilize available funding and provide assistance to community programs by taking advantage of grants from the federal government. There are many fantastic organizations doing crucial work that are underfunded, and we need sustained investment in the organizations on the ground to provide hope and resilience to people in our communities to reduce gun violence. A second priority we hope will be addressed this session is the Self-Defense Restoration Act, which would repeal Stand Your Ground. Senator Jones has filed SB 888, which would prohibit the use of deadly force when an individual has the ability to retreat. We've seen that Stand Your Ground laws encourage an escalation of violence, and they have not deterred crime. In fact, we have seen a rise in firearm-related homicides in Florida since this law passed. Gun violence is a public health crisis. I want to recognize that last week we had another tragic school shooting that took place in Michigan, and I want to thank the Senators Polsky, Harrell, and Berman for addressing the issues of gun violence in our state. We need to strengthen Florida's secure storage law. 3,000 Floridians are taken by gun violence each year. We have to take any and every action we can to stop this. We need our Florida legislators to make our children and all Floridians' lives a priority this session. The power is in your hands. Thank you for all the bills you've introduced in the goal of reducing gun violence. We're following all of them closely and look forward to supporting them when the legislative session starts in January.
Thank you, Ms. Dunbar.
And thank you for your representation of the people of Palm Beach County and allowing me to address the delegation.
Thank you, Ms. Dunbar. No questions. Representative Wilhite for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to recognize Vice Mayor Pahokee, Regina Boland, that's joined us here today. And thanks for having us in the Western communities, and appreciate you being here.
Thanks for your service. Next up, Mary Barnes with Alzheimer's Community Care. Great to see you, Mary.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Okay.
You too.
I also want to say how proud I am of this delegation for what you were able to do today. I'm very, just don't want to say anymore, but I'm very proud of you. I've been here doing work of Alzheimer's in Palm Beach County and Martin County and St. Lucie County since 1985. And I'm here to ask the continued support because we have made a big difference in our state. When you're talking about the Silver Alert legislation, you all helped us get that done. When you're talking about the specialized Alzheimer's daycare license, the only of its kind in the country, to be able to say that this is the rules that we want to go by in the care and the type of care in state statute. So I truly appreciate that. The dollars that we're asking for, there's 2 appropriation requests. One is through the leadership and help of Gail Harrell and also Lori Berman of thinking about and also Representative Zabdowski from St. Lucie County. That's also part of the bill, and also our chair, Mike Caruso. So the first part of this is service dollars, strictly service dollars. We asked for this because we have 12 centers that we're doing throughout the county, which we never shut down during the whole start of January of 2020. And also, 100% of our staff is vaccinated, which was an interesting challenge. And also being able to serve our patients throughout the pandemic. Also, the second part of our request is really to go into law enforcement, which is the wandering, and trying to prevent the wandering in a higher level with more cooperation and more interaction with law enforcement. We had a 30% increase this last year in wandering. And the ID locator, we're going to be looking at the technology and being able to serve more and more of our patients because it's early stage and late stage. So those are really the bottom line in those two appropriation requests. I want to say especially to Gail Harrell and also to Mike Caruso and all of you. I mean, I've known all of you. There's only about 3 or 4, I think I really don't know, that has supported this organization to do what it is, because we're part of the solution. We're not part of the problem. And for every dollar we get, 94 cents goes directly to services and resources. I can prove that through our audit. So I thank you very much, and those are my 2 requests. And I could go into depth in another hour, but I don't think anybody wants to stay here for that.
Yeah, we don't have much time.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
And Merry Christmas.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chair,
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
I'd like to make just a brief comment, if that's okay.
Somebody?
Mr. Chair,
Oh, yes, you're recognized.
thank you. Mary, I just want to make a personal thank you for your help with my mom. It was a dark moment for me and my family, and you were a bright light that helped us through it, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Next up, Denise Rock from Florida Cares Charity. No, Denise Rock? Are you from Florida Cares Charity? Okay. Oh, well, Joe Kilsheimer from Florida Waste to Energy Coalition. Now, are we talking about cow manure or to energy? What are we talking about?
Sir, now for something completely different. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Joe Kilsheimer, and I serve as Executive Director of the newly formed Florida Waste to Energy Coalition. We incorporated on June the 1st of this year. Our group is made up of the local governments in Florida that depend on waste to energy as the primary method of solid waste disposal. What is waste to energy? It is the direct combustion of municipal solid waste in a facility with state-of-the-art air pollution control technology that uses extremely high temperatures, around 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, to turn that garbage into an inert ash, reducing the volume of solid waste by 90%. The heat is used to create steam to create electricity, hence the term waste to energy, or WTE. Although WTE facilities combust garbage and generate carbon dioxide, the major climate change advantage of WTE is that it avoids landfilling garbage. When municipal solid waste sits in landfills, and it can physically last for up to decades, it slowly decomposes and produces methane, which is 84 times more potent a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide alone. Solid, peer-reviewed research shows that for every ton of waste in a waste-to-energy facility, every ton of waste processed in a waste-to-energy facility, you avoid the generation of a ton of greenhouse gases. The climate change advantages of waste-to-energy are provable and undeniable. Methane has started to get a lot more attention recently. In May, the United Nations released a report that said that reducing human-caused methane emissions is one of the most cost-effective strategies to rapidly reduce the rate of warming and contribute significantly to global efforts to limit the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. At the recent climate change summit in Scotland in November, more than 100 nations committed to reduce methane by 30% by 2030. That's why Europe, as it leads the global climate change discussion, has more than 400 waste-to-energy facilities and is forging ahead with the construction of new facilities. And just a couple more points. The United States has 75 facilities located principally in the Northeast and Florida. Florida has 10 facilities, more than any other state. Florida's waste-to-energy facilities serve our most populous counties, including Palm Beach County. And thank you for your service, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Kilsheimer. And
Chair, I have a motion.
Vice Chair for a motion.
Please extend the meeting for 5 more minutes so we can finish the last 2 speakers.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Okay, Catherine Toms. You have the floor.
Hi, I'm Catherine Toms. I'm a resident of Delray Beach and a constituent in your district, Representative Caruso and Senator Berman. I'm a public health physician and serve on the steering committee of Florida Clinicians for Climate Action. I'm also a Florida Power and Light customer and a new owner of residential rooftop solar. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm asking you to defend net metering for rooftop solar owners like me. Vote no on State Senate Bill 1024 and House Bill 741. And please urge your fellow legislators to do the same. Natural gas is the main fuel used by FP&L to generate energy. Fossil fuels account for 78% of FP&L's total energy. Fossil fuel-sourced electricity produces harmful gases that are the primary cause of air pollution and climate change. As a public health physician, my conscience no longer allows me to wait for FP&L to phase out fossil fuels at a future point in time that benefits their shareholders. Every year, 1 in 5 premature deaths worldwide is the result of air pollution produced by fossil fuels. Air pollution is linked to lung and heart disease, stroke, diabetes, infant mortality, and cancer, with higher rates among low-income Floridians. The health costs of fossil fuel-driven air pollution and climate change in the U.S. already exceeds $800 billion per year, and will be even costlier if we don't rapidly transition to a clean energy economy. So by installing rooftop solar on our roof, my family chose to get our electricity from clean, renewable energy and invest in the future. Florida's 72,000 families with
Bringing in
rooftop
for a
solar
landing.
have helped drive down costs of solar power, making it more affordable for lower income families and utilities alike. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Toms. Long drive, Delray Beach. I was right with you. And last but not least, April Brownlee. April Brownlee with Pace Center for Girls.
Hi. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the delegation. My name is April Brownlee, and I'm here today representing PACE Center for Girls Palm Beach. PACE provides early intervention and prevention programming to at-risk girls through education, middle and high school education, and counseling support services. We have an evidence-based model that doubles the likelihood of girls graduating high school. Here in Palm Beach County, we have served over 2,500 girls since inception, which was in 1996. These are girls that have been identified in our community as at risk. When they come to PACE, we view them as at promise. Last fiscal year, we served 106 girls in our middle and high school education program and an additional 57 girls in our community-based therapy program. 80% of those girls demonstrated academic improvement. In fact, 12 of those girls walked across the stage to receive their high school diploma, representing the largest graduation class of PACE Palm Beach history, many of those girls being first-generation high school graduates within their families. Additionally, 97% of our girls did not have any entry or recidivism with the juvenile justice system. I often get asked why girls, and I'll tell you, an investment in girls means an investment in communities. When we invest in healing our girls, especially those with a history of trauma, adversity, abuse, and neglect, we provide opportunities for those girls to heal, to graduate high school, to find employment, and to become women who have greater self-determination over their own decisions, their own lives, and their own bodies. and they turn around and they invest more back into their families. In fact, research shows they invest 2 to 3 times more of their income back into their families and are better providers of nutrition and health care for their families. So an investment in girls means an investment in communities. I just want to say thank you for your continued support of PACE Center for Girls, for believing in girls, and for helping us continue to find the great in every girl. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brownlee. And I must say, I was at that graduation, and it was amazing. And I spoke to, well, you had 12 girls there. I spoke to, I think, all 12. Almost every one of them never thought that day would ever be part of their lives. And thanks to PACE and your hard work and efforts, you really changed the world one little girl at a time. Thank you.
It's truly hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there being no other
Just one thing,
representative.
One
Will Height,
comment,
you were
please.
right.
One quick comment, personal
Height.
privilege. I just want to thank the chair for getting us through all 4 delegation meetings this past year. It hasn't been easy, and this is our last delegation meeting before we head up to Tallahassee. So on behalf of all of us, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Representative Will Height.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I concur with Senator Polsky's comments, or Vice Chair Polsky's comments, and I also would like to thank Representative Hardy for his last delegation meeting, his service, and his last meeting here. So thank you, Representative Hardy.
Thank you.
We will miss you, but I'm sure you will show up somewhere down in the future, and look forward to that. Want to wish everybody happy holidays, and thank you for coming today. Presenters, thank you very much. There being no other business to come before this delegation, I think it's appropriate that Representative Rick Roth call for a motion for an adjournment. Thank you.